she gets.
I thought you were gonna say flow. She just blows flow.
Yeah. Okay.
Pulling a ripcord on a life.
Yeah. Right. She just gains all of this weight.
So you're saying she's
it's like
never mind.
She got lazy, got into soap operas, got into watching YouTube all day, didn't leave the couch, started eating bonbons, whatever the case may be. Is there fault there?
No, in the prenup, there's no fatty clause.
That could be one solution, but the other solution would be like, why not?
You didn't have a prenup because you loved her so much. You could never imagine ever leaving her.
Prenup should be required by all parties.
Shut up,
but do you have an injury?
So even in that situation, like why can't? Because I've known what she has been. Why can't they not get her back to that state?
Do you think a judge is going to allow you to come in and say that, yeah, sure, that's a legal fault? Because the states have guidelines for what is fault and what is not fault, if they have the variation.
Well, what I'm saying is that, like, if that was a fault, then you could pursue the avenue. But I'd even just say that's like, even we're disregarding that aspect to it. It's like, why would divorce be necessary? Why not get her back to what she once was?
She doesn't want to. She likes bonbons. She doesn't give a fuck about you.
Bonbons and watching the Raging Tomato all day, every day.
Yeah.
Well, you say, baby, like, let's go to the gym, let's eat healthy, and she's like, nope, I don't want to.
Get your kale away from me, teriyaki. I'm watching Springer right now.
They don't have kale in Ireland. It's too wet.
That's part of the commitment, because
kale is the boy's name in Ireland.
What we're basically saying is that, like, I'm getting into marriage with someone who's just flipped the switch and they're just a completely different person.
Because that shit actually happens.
Yeah, but like you could argue then that
let me give you a hypothetical.
I want Teriak to really sit in this one for a minute. She's changed.
Yeah,
she's a different person.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a chance. What if you're 10 years in, Teriak? You've got 10 years invested in this marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's you are, in theory, just like ridiculously in love. Everything's great. Maybe you have a kid. I don't know. Maybe you don't want. I don't know.
They prefer butt stuff.
And she just wakes up one morning, literally like, you know what, you suck, and she just starts making your life miserable. Like you can't do anything right.
So like every other woman.
You know, she's hanging out with her friends all the time. She's instead of working 40 hours a week and like you do and contributing to the household, she decides that, you know what, Teriak's a good, strong lad. He can make it. And so she goes down like 12 hours a week. The rest of the time she spends hanging out with her chicks, down at the gym or wherever. You have no idea what she's doing all day. I'm trying to make stuff. I'm in foreign territory here. I don't know. So
at the club is what you're.
Yeah, at the club. Yeah, getting drunk all the time. She comes in smelling like alcohol all the time. And you're pretty like you're like 90% sure she hasn't done anything to void the marriage, but you're getting fed up. You're getting tired of it. Where do you go with that? I'm just curious.
Because again, it's a relationship to it's a bond between two people. If you can't discuss or talk through that things, then again, like this would be like what you're trying to say is kind of like along the lines of fraud, like with Sarah's example, in terms of like they're just a completely different person.
You ever had a girlfriend?
And in terms of like the gross neglect of beauty as well.
Are you offering?
Yeah. I have had a girlfriend. It's your mama.
Okay, so then why don't you have
basically, like what you're talking about there, Grid, is like gross neglect of duty.
Sure.
She's not actually participating.
I get it. I know. I wanted to go that I wanted to go that direction because this is like a common story.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that'd be.
What if literally like the throwing of frying pans is no longer a meme? It's actually happening because I know you got frying pans in Ireland, right? That's how you got to cook your potatoes and whatever it is that stuff you eat. But
basically,
that's racist.
Teriyaki. No, racism's part of my culture. It's okay.
You said that this essentially, the abuse part goes into fault, though. All of these other things fall under the category of no fault. That's the only way you'd be able to press go on a divorce. Outside of that, if the state has a fault laws, you'd have to be within their realm of what those they count as fault. So her letting herself go, her going to the nightclub with her girlfriends, her dropping her hours down to only 12 hours of work.
Sending flow state
Sending flow state. Well, no, that would go under adultery.
Yeah.
But all of these things are, you can't really, there's no fault legally on a legal
It would be a
standpoint.
gross overreach of the state's role in mediating the divorce, the liquidation, for them to insist that you have to have some sort of fault. Somebody has to be at fault here. We cannot have.
But we're describing the faults. Like they're not participating in the relationship. They're doing gross neglect of duty. They rather go to the club with girls.
Hold on.
Let me. Terms, it would not be considered fault.
Let me
in current laws, maybe.
Let me wind this up. So this actually happened in olden days, where women would just get a little weird and husbands worked all the time. And like my grandparents didn't do it, but friends of theirs, I know that they slept in different rooms. They were only, they basically, they were still friends, right? And they were married. They were a couple, but they were also only, there was no love in that marriage anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? There was a sense of family, but they weren't, the romanticism had left the building a long time ago because of these actions. And, I'm sure that, and I could go on about the men too, but so what you're kind of talking about is like, hey, this is, marriage. In my opinion, marriage is like, I mean, forever. I mean, you just don't leave it unless it's just completely trashed. So but again, not everyone shows not everyone shares my view of commitment. And what you're saying is that everyone must prescribe to your idea of commitment. Like for me, right? Like if I could never be a judge on a divorce case because I would unless the woman cheated or the man cheated, I would never ever let them out. They would never. There would never be a divorce. It would be like, go fix your problems, shut up.
And this is basically the nuance that I mentioned at the start of the stream. I don't know if you've seen it as well. It's basically like this whole aspect where it's like, I'm not saying that we get rid of divorce. I'm saying we get rid of no fault divorce. What I'm saying is there has to be a reason.
Because religion fosters narcissism, because you convince yourself that God thinks what you think, and that you inject yourself into other people's lives in ways that you don't know where your lanes are.
Okay, Freud.
Melanie has
Sorry,
a
God.
question.
I thought that was Nietzsche, actually.
I like Nietzsche way better.
I'm sorry. I just try to keep pegging down Flo's erraticisms.
No, it's a good prattle session. It's a really good prattle session. I have a question for Teriak. You said that it's about maintaining a bond. And so it's really a twofold question. My first question would be, what do you think that bond consists of? And secondly, do you think that the system or like the institution of marriage, whatever that be, whether it's government involved or not, do you think that should reflect how humans naturally tend to have relationships?
So again, the first question is like what the bond is. It depends on the people. And then the second question in terms of like what does that bond reflect? Again, it goes down to the people themselves. Like what do you agree upon? And that's why we kind of mentioned the whole kind of like discussing how the marriage should end if it does end beforehand, rather than just willy-nilly going into it and not even having that discussion, because you're able to talk through like a catastrophic event of the marriage ending, then the relationship's going to be stronger to it. But if you can't even discuss that, then you shouldn't be getting married in the first place.
I think you sort of sidestepped my first question, because I think that there are things that we can actually identify that are part of a healthy relationship. Like we tend to see that people who are happiest in their relationships tend to have lots of these things. One of those things would be trust. Another thing would be intimacy. Things that kind of separate their relationship from all the other relationships you have.
Yeah, but like I said, in terms of like the start, I don't know if anyone's seen the start. Like I listed off like adultery, cruelty or DV, abandonment or desertion, imprisonment, substance abuse.
I understand that. I
understand. They married that.
What I'm saying, Terry,
insanity,
we understand
fraud, gross neglect, infection.
But why isn't that person responsible for who they chose
these
to
would all
marry?
be grounds where I'd say, yeah, like
we understand fault. I'm
justified.
saying truth is a universal component of a relationship, especially having a very long-term relationship with somebody. Trust is what I meant to say. Trust is. And so it's important then that the trust is maintained over that relationship. And I think when it's lost, that's one of those things that you can't really show in court. But, you know, there's no point in having a relationship if you can't trust that person anymore.
I've never agreed with no more.
Proof, like, for example, like adultery, like that's breaking the trust.
Yeah,
that's
but you chose to marry that person, so you got to live with it, right? It's your fault, punishment.
No, again, like you can keep trying to pigeonhole me or try to straw man my position. I'm not against divorce. I've said multiple times I'm not against divorce.
The whole point is though, like, why do you want the courts involved in your marriage? You know your marriage, like, better than anybody else does. Nobody else does.
Oh, I see you. Thank you.
You're against some divorces.
Speak easy. Whoa.
Yeah, no fault divorce, where you're saying there's no reason. We're just.
Why do you want a judge who doesn't know you to tell you whether or not you're allowed to break up?
The court is not your dad.
Because there's no accountability. You're not providing a reason. You're saying we're doing this. There's no reason.
We're not in elementary school, dude.
Yeah, we're adults here.
Like, Jesus Christ. The end of your relationship is fucking accountability.
Because
one at
again,
a time, children.
if there was like, let's say a DV case, it's like, well, how do you know that's not just how he shows love? Like we have like judicial system for a reason, Ghosty.
They are not overseeing the quality of marriages. They're liquidating assets. That's what they're doing. That's their whole role. It's not to be your mom. It's not to be your dad. It's not to make sure that you're adhering to the terms of whatever. It's literally just to divorce it, because adults who make voluntary contracts are also allowed to dissolve.
Yes, and you can have uncontested divorces. I'm just saying I'm against no-fault divorces.
Do you think every time
uncontested means that, like,
contested means if flow state, if you file to divorce me tomorrow, I wouldn't do that. I can make a counter complaint, or I can say I contest, I don't want a divorce. Whereas uncontested means we both agree that we want to get a divorce. So I know, babe. That means we agree that we want to get a divorce, and then we can proceed forward. Otherwise,
and
like
no fault, that means that there's whether you contest it or not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Oh, wow. Really?
And old Sarge Finkel coming in with the big 20 says it's better to give to the Bratty Tomato Fund than to a lawyer. No fault is a legal move to leave money in our pockets. And yes, I did express this earlier, that when you go into fault divorces, and he says it right here, when you claim fault and blame, the other side defends it. Now you have a legal fight that makes lawyers rich. Nobody wins except the lawyers, and that's it.
That is true.
Terry, do you think every time someone breaks a contract, they should be punished?
There should be accountability for the actions, yeah.
What about when you don't return your movie to Redbox in time?
This is a different kind of contract, no?
They still have Redbox?
So is there actually
probably never did, and wherever he's at.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure divorce is like a new contract that's meant to nullify the marriage, right?
Well, it's literally a dissolution
of the contract.
It's a contract. I don't know. Yeah, the contract, the marriage contract, if I remember correctly, does not include anything about it being permanent. That's a wedding vow that you say as part of a tradition.
Wedding vows.
Flo, you're punching at ghosts here, not Ghosty, but you're punching at ghosts, because I'm not saying that I'm against divorce. I'm saying I'm against no fault.
You keep repeating that. I don't know why you keep saying that.
You might not understand it, but it makes sense. I'm not saying that she's stuck in the thing forever.
No,
I'm not saying it's permanent.
For the record, gentlemen,
you need sunglasses.
This is a sunglass only panel. You need to find some.
So my problem with your logic
has hundreds.
is, would you want the courts being able to tell people who can and can't get married?
I don't see what that's got to do with divorce.
Well, yes or no, just on principle.
He does. He's not against divorce. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah.
So, but okay. So on principle, people can enter the contract of marriage willingly without any intervention from the courts of government, so far as you're concerned, right?
Yes.
And so why can't they enter the contract of divorce willingly without any
But it's not a contract. It's a dissolvement of
divorce isn't. Yeah, you need a new contract to do that. You need something in its place to do that says this contract is now just dissolved. So it's a new contract. You sign it.
Contract.
You sign a divorce thing.
Yeah, but marriage is supposed to be more than just a contract, right? It's supposed to be a lifelong commitment.
Oh,
That's
don't
why
start.
that's the
Also,
argument for getting rid of no-fault divorce.
What is this, the church?
Yeah, the courts
What is
only
that?
deal with
What's it
the
mean?
contractual part.
Let me catch you up.
What
real
is the
quick,
point of
Speak.
marriage then? You tell me. What is the point
It's
of marriage?
a business engagement between friends. Speakeasy. It
It's
has
a
no
business
value.
engagement between friends.
Yeah,
There
according
are
to
two
this
types
panel.
of marriage.
Business
Use
together.
the same word, but we're describing two different things. One is a legal partnership domestically between people. The other one is a religious tradition. They're separate things.
Okay, so explain to me what you point to explain to me what the legal version of marriage is. What is it? It's just a contract?
It's a contract. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, well,
financial legal union.
that is the argument against that's the argument for no fault divorce being abolished, is because the point of marriage isn't supposed to be just a contract. Right?
But I mean, it's not an argument. It's just a recognition of what is.
Wait, what?
The court. I'm not really using that to make an argument. I'm just stating what it is. People seem to think.
I get you're saying what it is, but that's takes away from what it's supposed to be. We're talking about how it ought to be.
You got to know
not how
that
it
problem.
is, right? Like we know that right now it's looked at as a legal contract, but we're talking about how it ought to be, right?
Do you think that the courts ought to impose people's value for them
in a marriage? Yeah, I think the courts, in a marriage.
The court has no contract, right? Court has no consideration in the contract.
You look at marriage. You look at marriage as the same as other contracts. I don't.
Functionally, it is the same. You're fully allowed to have whatever values or God involved in it that you want.
Is and ought. Do you understand the difference between is and ought?
Oh, the is and ought thing again. I do
understand the difference?
Correct.
If we're having a discussion about how
you
something
feel like it ought to be something that it's not.
Yeah, but So
we're at a concept of the ought.
Wait, the discussion is if there should be, right? Your argument saying this is how it is isn't an argument to how it should be. Do you understand that or no?
I literally just told you that. That's exactly what I just explained to you.
So then why is that your answer?
Why ought?
You're
arguing from a change for status from status quo. The status
I just explained why ought. It ought to be no fault divorce ought to be abolished because marriage should be a lifelong commitment. Yeah.
And so in order for us to strengthen the marriage or the relationships within a marriage, you propose that we make it harder for people who hate each other to be separated.
Yeah, because by extension, it would also limit the people that are just going mindlessly getting married too. So it would keep the actual value of marriage. So if people knew they couldn't just get out of it, people wouldn't mindlessly get married. They would actually make sure they want to have that lifelong commitment before they get married.
It removes people's ability to even value marriage.
Sorry, I can't hear you when you talk at the same time as me. So you want to repeat yourself?
I don't even remember that now.
Yeah, so you're just listening to respond. You're not actually listening to my part of the conversation. That's your problem.
No, that's your problem.
Hey,
no, it's actually not. I'm actually fully engaged in the conversation. I knew the topic when I came up. You still don't, apparently.
Speak easy. It gets worse. They don't think the court should even get involved. It should be between the two married people. They should decide on what the
Why
value
don't you let
is,
God
whether
decide?
there's fault. I'm talking to speakeasy if you don't mind. But anyway,
TikTok brain can't listen for more than 30 seconds.
I know.
Why don't you let God enforce this? Then?
Why don't you let someone talk and then you talk?
So anyway, they're trying to argue no fault to somehow indicate that marriage has no value because
we're
it's just
here.
a
He's
business.
explaining what we are here.
It's a
and
business
explaining
contract
Dude,
between
like,
the friends.
You hold it in, flow state. Hold it in for a minute. Write it down.
Gentlemen, give
too
me a
hard to
moment. Let
remember
me
things?
address
Write it
the
down,
chat
buddy.
for a moment.
Yeah,
To
get
the
your pen and
chat.
pad. Yeah.
Hold on just a second. To the chat, you have 10 seconds to vote on the poll. Either Howdy or IFI. I took the two took the two Avatar gentlemen out to vote to bring on Prancess because he is cammed up. So
Ghosty was an icon. You just exposed yourself.
Well, no.
Can you read that?
Hold on.
I wrote it down.
Shut up for a minute. No, I left Ghosty on because females.
Can you read that? It says suck I
it.
it.
I know. I fucked up.
Gentlemen, shut up for a fucking second here. You have 10 seconds, chat. 9, 8.
You have no
7,
choice.
6,
Watch this.
5, 4.
Also, Furby's not on cam. Just
Fair enough.
technically speaking.
Howdy
Yeah,
went
in their
ahead and
defense, I
jumped.
am a bit of an icon.
The ladies of the panel, the regulars, always have. But if you're in avatar mode, that's how I made the determination of who.
It's like in between, right? The icon and the cam up. It's like kind of like in both states at the same time.
I'm still demanding glasses from Speakeasy and Prancess. This is unacceptable. We can have one full panel.
Speakeasy, you got shades, dude.
sunglasses.
Just throw on some shades.
And big shout out to. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I missed one. I apologize. Wrongful Rage coming in with Big 5. Oh shit, Furby is back. What is with the banana? Did you miss it after this? What?
Oh, that's just leftovers
least-
from last stream.
Oh goodness, at least Manure isn't here screaming. I don't know. That was kind of fun. I enjoyed putting someone in bitch mode. That was pretty comical. But yes, at least we can have a peaceful, somewhat conversation.
Oh,
Just Gerald coming in with the Big 10 for the panel. Should there be barriers to marriage? If so, what barriers do you recommend? I'm guessing that's to get married.
Francis looks like he's had a rough night.
He needs
I was
to
just gonna
glasses.
bring that one.
How was
Hey,
Vegas?
Formula.
Was Vegas fun?
It was fun. It was fun. Definitely need a couple days to recover. And now I'm in Austin, Texas. So I'm traveling all about.
Very nice. All right, panel. What barriers do you think should be there, if you think there should be any at all? Mel, let's start with you.
I don't know if it's enforceable, so I'm not going to like prescribe any ways to enforce it. But people who have been charged with domestic violence, maybe they should go like on a list or something. I don't know.
Okay, Teriak.
Yeah, I think the whole kind of prenup discussion that we said beforehand, like you basically have it worked out how it's going to end before, and then you don't have all this headache towards the end where it's just kind of like kind of said, it gets dragged on, all this kind of stuff as well. And then yeah, like what Ferb was saying is like I'd be in favor if it's like if you're convicted off TV, then you're on a list so everyone knows exactly who you are.
Fair enough. Speak easy to you.
So I'd agree basically with this, where I'd say prenups were mandatory, right? That would be a mandatory thing. But the whole, that's what I was saying earlier about the no-fault divorce being abolished, is it would add this barrier, right? Because people would know they couldn't just get out of it.
Fair enough. Ghosty to you.
I don't have an interest in controlling people's lives. So if people want to go ahead and fuck around and marry somebody that they probably shouldn't have, then guess what? The accountability is now they either have to live through a shitty marriage or they have to go through a divorce. And honestly, that's none of my fucking business. So I don't care.
But you just said accountability, but then you're in favor of no-fault divorce, which is against accountability.
I'm saying that we don't have to enforce accountability through the law for people's personal lives that aren't harming.
So we should just let people do whatever they want, murder.
So your own
that you fuck up your life.
Oh, you're not listening. Okay, cool.
We enforce accountability on everything. What are you talking about?
Is murdering somebody something that has to do with your personal
life?
Yeah,
when we put you in jail for murder, that's enforcing accountability.
Oh, good job. Okay, but that's not something you do with your own personal life that doesn't hurt somebody else, right? Which is exactly what I said. When you marry somebody...
Okay, so should we let people do heroin?
Yes.
Not the same thing. None of these are.
That's the point of.
Do you know what a false equivalency is?
Like,
you know what a false equivalency is? Because you're really good at them.
Well,
Explain the false
Can we
equivalency.
just move on to process so we can just get through the
Hold on,
panel?
Heroin does hurt people, by the way.
I want Ghosty to finish her thought on it.
What do you mean?
I think it's pretty clear there's different risk factors with heroin and getting into a marriage. I think those are definitely different. On that
Yeah, I
front.
mean, like I would just say allowing people to do heroin is not a net benefit, whereas I believe no fault divorce is typically a net benefit. So like that's the easiest.
Yeah.
But I'll give
I
the
don't
answer.
think I don't think it's something you could compare necessarily, because doing drugs is obviously very, very harmful, not only to yourself but to the people around you. No fault divorce, you're actually escaping a bad plan and essentially, in theory, moving on to do better. Process barriers.
Yeah, I'll be pretty quick because I think my answer is pretty similar to Ghosty. Yeah, I think I took a more offhand approach where I think you should be able to marry whoever you want for the most part within normal bounds. Just like if you're going to start a business relationship in America with someone, if you want to choose someone to be your business partner, the government's not getting super involved unless like you are breaking some crazy regulations. So similarly, if you want to make that business relationship with someone really bad who's going to ruin your finances, that's up to you. If you want to make that bad call, that's your decision, and I'm okay with that.
That's fair. Non-fun to you. Non-fun.
Non-fun, yeah. The only like things I would say it's like basic like soundness of mind thing. So like, you know, if you sign a marriage contract while you're blackout drunk, that should probably be void. Children probably aren't intelligent enough to consent to marriage, and neither are like extremely mentally disabled people. But beyond soundness of mind, I don't think there's any barriers I'd really have.
All right, Grid to you.
Yeah, well, so first, I gotta say that we have the courts and government enforce a lot of accountability on people. If you don't believe it, just don't pay your taxes, and you'll figure that out really quick. However, as far as the subject matter, I do believe there should be a barrier to marriage. This is just my personal belief, and that it has no bearing on reality, but I do believe that a lot of the churches have it right where before you can get married, you need to have counseling through the church, make sure that you're thinking this through clearly and that you have some plan to be married. I do believe that people get married for the wrong reasons, and some counseling beforehand might be worthwhile. I don't know, maybe not, who knows? But there should be, I don't know if that's a barrier exactly, but maybe a requirement, right? Like, but we hand out wedding licenses like they're candy. It's harder to get a driver's license than a marriage license in most states. And that's kind of weird to me. But hey, everybody gets to do them. And, it is what it is. As far as and I'll just repeat for the people who are just coming into the panel, the problem with terming it I think that the term no fault is somewhat misleading. If it's no fault, that means that one person can just say I'm out and bail, and the other person has no recourse. Non-contested means that we both agree, hey, this shit ain't working. We're both bailing. We leave, and nobody gets anything. I don't know that I really believe in no fault, and I've heard all of the justifications as far as abuse and neglect and all of that, but that is actual fault. No fault would just mean that I just woke up one morning and I looked over at you and I don't like your face anymore. And rather than just seeing if I change my mind by lunchtime, I just go get a divorce. That seems kind of fucking stupid to me.
You think people do that? You think people
That's
do
just
that?
me.
Yeah,
So
and people don't do that. But all it doesn't.
Be
What it
willing to
means
bet
that-
that has never happened once in the entire history.
it's
Where
called
literally
being-
one day, one woman went to sleep loving her husband, and then she woke up being like, I want a divorce today. That has
Yeah.
never fucking happened.
You sure?
Guaranteed.
She probably did have these thoughts for months or years at a
Sure.
time and just
being
simply
facetious.
woke up and said, I'm done. But I wouldn't imagine it just happening overnight unless there was some outside factor like a new boyfriend, the cabana boy, the
I
secretary.
was going to say pool boy, but sure, cabana boy,
Yeah.
pool boy, they're
I
interchangeable.
mean, if anyone
Flow
can make
state.
someone
It
change,
literally happens all the time. I don't know what you mean that doesn't happen. That literally
But
happens.
at any
all the
rate,
time.
I'm done. That's my position, such as it is. Flow state, take it away, bro.
Barriers, flow state. Don't go off topic like grid.
No additional barriers. I think that actually, I think that people are waiting too long to engage in family making, and I would not want to put anything in to further delay that. I think that whether you believe in God or nature, there's a reason that people's libido peaks before their frontal lobes develop, and that in the big picture, a little bit of reckless behavior, a little bit of mistakes along the way is good for people as a whole and individually. So I would not put any other requirements in the way of it.
Fair enough. I-Fi.
You still here? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, no, she tried to boot me off, but you can't defeat me.
Howdy, I was trying to boot I-Fi, but Howdy just chose to leave. I was
See?
like, damn it, I was
I
so
told you.
close.
He was being so quiet over there.
She was
Forgot
even
he
rigging
here.
the
It was
votes.
nice.
She was like doubling the votes for me, and they still wouldn't kick me off. Eat it. So, anyways, if there were good and intelligent people, I would say, age of accountability, free will, and hopefully biologically adult. But since the world's full of evil retards, I would say something more like a Ninja Warrior course and maybe like an IQ test or something like that,
Ninja Warrior could be fun.
And then Ghosty left, but I was going to give her an example. If she can name 3 Pink Floyd songs, then I won't divorce her. Go.
Dude, every time I'm on a fucking panel, I listen to rock music. I'm so sick of this sexist bullshit, dude.
What am I missing?
Hey you,
we're just another
learning to
brick
fly.
in the wall.
That's
Okay,
Tom
that's
Petty.
2.
Isn't that Tom Petty?
Dark or fucking no.
Dark Side of the Moon's
Dark
an
Side of the
album,
Moon.
sweetheart.
I know. I wasn't gonna say that because I'm trying to say Pink Floyd isn't like one of my favorite bands.
Which you were here.
3, Ghosty.
What?
Hold on, I'm
3.
trying to name.
Let's do it.
I know.
Let's
I'm trying to name my favorite one.
Swimming in a
It's a really long
year after
one.
year.
I can name Money, but
No, that's a radio. Everybody knows. Something that only.
I know. I'm
So
trying
now
to
you're
name
just
that really
making
long
us-
You
one
didn't
where it's
specify-
like just.
you didn't say
Oh my God.
B-sides.
What is that?
Okay,
Really?
I want
You
a
know
no
that
fault
really-
divorce,
Money.
Ghosty. Too late.
You know
the
I want
really
a no fault
long-
divorce.
Shut the fuck up. You know the
Learning
really
to
long
fly
name
Is
that has
Tom
like
Petty.
5 parts? Oh my god, what is it? That's my favorite one.
Well, while you're thinking about that, Carney's Ride comes in with a big 2. It says, what's with all the shades from everyone? Everybody's wearing sunglasses. I couldn't be more proud of all of the compliance from all of
It's
you. It's
none of
beautiful.
your fucking business. That's
Ridge
what it
showed
is.
up with glasses. Flow State went and put on a welding helmet. Teriyaki conveniently put his on along with me to join the crew. Speakeasy joined and threw his on. Melanie, of course, did hers as well to be compliant. Ghosty showed up. Not only did she cam up because I made the threat of avatars getting booted, which she was in the safety, but she immediately threw her sunglasses on as well. And Nanfan and Princess decided to join the crew. Don't forget I-Fi's
I
little
don't know how it
seashell
started, but for
slug-looking
some
thing.
reason, when
I don't
Flo
even
and I
have
are on
hands,
panel
and I
together, the
found
glasses
shades.
have to come out.
It's Shine On You Crazy Diamond. That's the one I'm thinking of.
That's good enough. Okay, we're still married for now, but just
I was
barely.
wearing these beforehand.
You look like Tom Cruise from Risky Business. You should be like sliding across the floor in your underwear and socks.
Just
right
take
now.
those old records
Oh,
off
pants
the
are going
shelf.
off. Yeah, you asked for it.
You got another moolah.
He looks like a
Bingo.
hungover soccer dad or something.
He does. He looks so.
He looks
rough.
like he's had a rough night. I mean, rough.
I'll read it,
Oh,
Finkel. The
good.
prophet Steve Martin saith, to break up, you say, I break with thee 3 times, and put doggy poop on her shoe.
What?
So, anyways, back to the
That's
topic.
your super chat. That's
Well,
your
let
super
me
chat,
let
Sarah.
me. Oh, thank you. Finkel
just
coming in.
read-
I think he would much prefer it if I read it. I-Fi.
Okay.
Put
Finkel,
lotion on your hands.
It puts
Or
the
else
lotion.
it gets the hose again.
I don't have it downstairs right now. I actually took it upstairs the other day. Finkel coming in with a big 20. The prophet, Steve Martin, saith, to break up, you'll say, I break up with thee 3 times and put doggy poo-poo on her shoe. Yes, and for that, Finkel, I think you deserve one of these just for shits and giggles.
This message is sponsored in part by...
Thank you, Finkel. Everybody say thank you, Finkel. You got
Thanks,
the horse.
Finkel.
All right, back to you. Melanie, I believe you had a thought to add.
One of these days I'll figure out what this stream is actually sponsored in part by. But so I'm just a little disturbed because I see like some perverts on panel who are just like, I just want people to make families and shit. And it's like, you know that like feminism has happened and like women are like getting careers now and stuff like that. And you don't just want to like enter your idealistic like women being domesticated into raising kids and doing your dishes for you, right? Free slave labor. They want to like have their own lives as well.
We're tired of you.
Yeah, speak easy. You're making my face
Brains,
for
get ready
me,
to tap in, buddy. I'm gonna go to bed early tonight. I gotta trip.
It's
tomorrow.
because the fox started talking, isn't it?
He's good at clearing out panels.
I'm just saying, like, you guys are always so worried about what we're pushing kids to do. Maybe we should stop pushing kids to get married.
What the fuck?
What?
Did you not hear earlier the fact that I said no-fault divorce being banned would actually stop certain people from getting mindlessly married? That's my point. I don't want a bunch of people that don't look at marriage as a lifelong commitment to get married.
I don't think many 18-year-olds know about no-fault divorce.
What are you talking about? Who on here said they want kids to get married?
Flow State was all like, well, we need as many families happening as possible. And it made
That's
me
saying he wants kids to get married?
I also blame Flow State.
Well, he said he doesn't care if their prefrontal cortex was fully developed.
Do you know how old you are when you're
in your head or what? Like, come on.
25. You're 25.
Some of those thoughts you get made up in your head, you got to keep those to yourself, man. They don't make no sense.
Nobody's trying to force kids to get married or trying to cultivate.
I didn't realize that you triggered anyone that bad, Flow State.
Me?
Again.
Yeah.
Oh, I trigger lots of people.
He triggers
He's inspired me to come up with another great barrier, waiting until their prefrontal cortex is actually developed.
But Flow State, what's worth, you don't trigger me as much as Furby.
But you want kids to be able to transition.
Because that's different.
Oh boy!
Again, Easy, you're really smart.
Transition doesn't want adults to get married.
Speak easy. You sound really smart until someone knows what false equivalency is, and then once people
you can cut your dick off, but don't you dare get married.
18-year-olds, you're too young to get married. 12-year-olds,
strong.
Those kids off, yo.
You're very strong until people realize what a false equivalency is. All your arguments are just false equivalencies.
An argument that makes sense for one.
Have one argument, please, that isn't just a false equivalency. Just one.
Back on topic. When is the prefrontal cortex actually does it close? Is it like 25 or something?
25, yeah.
I think it's fully developed at about 25 for most people.
On
I
average.
still think some people have a little more ways to
We
go.
really want
I don't think mine's coming in.
Dude, when is your
Does that limit your fun? I'm just curious. Never put any thought into it.
We're gonna be
So
answering
what,
this question all night.
Melanie, we're kind of proposing upping the age in marriage.
You should start imposing like a swear jar,
People
but like
get married
a
at 38 anyway.
people who ask that question from now on, they got to pay like $1 to the swear jar, or else.
I actually just sent another. I put in another dono goal to sponsor the Sunglasses Crew. We are officially the Sunglasses Crew now. So, yeah. But if somebody else,
That's the best name you can come up with for us.
That's what they keep saying.
You'll receive an invoice.
But that always wins, and that's what they've been saying. It's the Sunglasses Crew.
I'll send you the invoice, Sarah, for my cut of this.
I want to be called the congregation.
All the donuts? Got it. Yeah, great idea, Sarah.
Oh yeah, we're splitting them. Yeah, we better.
Yeah, that's obviously the point of the Sunglass Crew. Why else would we be doing
The
this?
Shades Crew. Oh, the Shady Bunch. Institute sunglasses only panels.
Hey, Speakeasy.
What up?
Help a brother out. So, I asked Grid to help me out earlier, but I think he's stumped. Can you make sense for me why the religious people would be arguing for no fault, but the secular agnostic is arguing for
Why do you want to
fault?
play this semantic game, Sci-Fi?
Is your name Speakeasy Retard?
Wow, Flo
Shut up.
really can't let people talk. Bro, relax, bro. It's okay, bro.
I have listened to him ask this
finish.
stupid question.
At least someone let him finish. Poor guy. Come on.
So
how he does with the questions.
So can you make that make sense for me? Because I'm totally confused, dude.
So you said, why are religious people arguing against no fault?
No, they're arguing for no fault. And the non-religious person was arguing for fault. Do you see how we're in bizarro world now? Everything's opposite. It's like
I don't know.
It's called reasonability. Finkel coming in with the Big Ten. If this is the Shady Bunch, Speakeasy must be Alice.
Wait, is that even true? Because Speakeasy's talking about the religious context. I think like me, Ghosty, Melanie are giving. I think we're on atheists. We're talking about we want no fault divorce. It sounds like
he was speaking earlier.
You missed the earlier panel process.
He's speaking of me because he asked me if I was religious, thinking that I would back him, but I don't. The whole no fault thing is garbage to me.
See?
I think it needs to be.
I'm so confused. Speaking.
This is why you need to interrupt me.
Sense.
You were asking a question to somebody who did not know what you were referencing.
Make it make sense, Speakeasy. Help a brother out.
Well, please. I would have to hear. I didn't get to hear Grid's reasoning. I'm sure Grid gave his reasoning to this.
Go ahead, bro.
It's pretty simple. I believe that no fault. Well, first of all, I don't see why secular people get married at all, because it's a covenant before God and blah blah blah. I got a whole speech about that. We don't need to go into it. But if they choose to get married in a courthouse, then it's a contract and it can be broken like any other contract. So at that point, as a religious person, I don't care because I'm not going to hell. You are. That's the easiest way.
Your religious beliefs don't do anything.
That's not the argument.
Or prevent it from being.
Hold on. Saying you can't break it. It's saying you can't break it without.
I'm trying to condense.
It's very vindictive. By the way, that's incredibly vindictive to be like, well, you're going to go to hell anyways.
Well, I'm sorry that you are going to hell, but you are.
I mean, from a religious aspect, like I will say that, like
you're going to waste your life on God.
Well, hold on. The Catholics,
and you're going to live without him.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, because he doesn't exist.
I have one rule.
You'll learn all about that.
Are you not listening?
Sorry.
I have one rule. I don't speak much, but when I do, you shut the fuck up. Like in the Catholic world, your marriage is not an actual marriage under God if it's not done through the proper ceremonial procedures and all of these different things. So yeah, it would be fair for a person in a religious aspect to say you're going to hell because you're technically living in sin your entire marriage if you're not doing it underneath that ceremony and based on the Catholic procedure. So it would be fair to say that. Now, would that apply to you? Well, if you don't believe in God and you don't believe in the Bible or even Catholicism at its finest, then it wouldn't matter, right? I could sit here and tell you till I'm blue in the face, you're going to hell, and you're like, I don't believe it. What's it matter?
I just wish they could use the same logic when they call them a sheep.
I'm not angry about you. I'm not angry about your choice. It's your choice. I don't care. It's I'm not a forceful religious person who believes that I must force everyone to believe the way that I believe. Which is why generally, and as I told Teriak and I told IFI, I generically do not argue this from a religious. Matter of fact, I never argue this from a religious point of view because of that very reason. I will argue that no fault is stupid. If you want to have non-contested, I agree with that. But one person just should not be able to just say, I want out and just go. Right?
Do you think...
pardon me. Let me rephrase. That's not exactly what I mean. One person should not be able to. I'm sorry. Are you being rude?
Mel,
you dumb little.
Hold on, Mel. Be nice.
This guy doesn't know how to land a plane. This guy does not know how to land a plane.
Fucking brains. They can't remember. If you can't put it into 30 seconds, they won't remember it.
Cool, man.
I'm writing a book on
it. I got to jump anyway here in just a
minute. You're all fucking
retarded.
TikTok brain. 30 seconds. You can't go past it. Just shut up and listen to someone for once.
Can you clarify what part you said and then tried to rephrase? Like, you don't think one person's being
what I was trying to rephrase is that I don't think that you should just be able to wake up one morning, say, "Hey, I want to get a divorce." Go down to the courthouse, get a divorce, not have to give a reason, not have to say anything, nothing like that. Just walk out of the marriage, and the other person has no recourse, and they just have to take it and accept it. I don't believe in that. Now that's just my personal opinion. Now, uncontested, where you both go, hey, I don't like her, she don't like me, we're splits, we're done. I get that. That's totally cool. But if you are going to have no fault divorce, that means no fault means no money, no support, no nothing. You walk, you get nothing. That's the end of it. And you can't come back later and say, well, I need to get in this dude's wallet or this girl's wallet.
You think that one party should be able to keep the marriage together against the other party's will?
No, but I think that if one person is like, hey, this is I'm out of nowhere, I don't know what's going on, what the hell? At that point, if there's no reason for it, then there has to be a reason at that point, right?
Well,
contested essentially just turns into the person who filed just having to give solid hard reasoning. It kind of turns it into fault.
Contested, uncontested, much better than no fault. No fault, I think, is just weird.
What about I don't love you anymore? Is that not a reason?
Well, no, it's not. Why? It's not a reason. Because
that's not a fucking reason.
Hold on.
Time you're with someone, you could be with them for a whole year, and it's a rough year. Things are going bad, right? People go.
Yeah, dude, I fucking know that shit. I'm talking about you literally fall out of love.
Sometimes you can feel like you're out of love because of the
I know you like to use
going through, but if you actually just made it through that shit, you'd come through stronger, right? You can do all the condescending shit.
What if you go through that shit? What if you go through that shit and you don't love everything anymore?
Yeah, but here's this man, Ghosty.
Look, nobody likes the truth, man. You can't hear fucking something for any time.
Guys. Sometimes people don't magically fall back into love either.
Let me ask the question. Why do you get married, Speakeasy?
He doesn't.
Why would you
to commit your life?
I'm sorry,
to commit your life to your partner. That's why.
Why do you marry her? Why did you choose her?
Because you love her. What do you mean?
That is
right.
That is the intent.
But now
you're gonna have to get in all this esoteric. Can you actually fall out of love with somebody?
Let me put it. Pardon me for a moment. I'm gonna put it in a more of a contractual viewpoint here. If you and I intentionally enter into a contract of marriage from a state's perspective because we loved each other, then when love is no longer there, now the contract is because it's broken, right? So that's where, if you look at it from a legal standpoint, if your intentions were to marry her because you love her, then therefore those intentions, if that piece is no longer there, now the contract
is no longer. Let's walk this down a little bit more, though. Let's walk this down a little bit more now, Sarah. Now, not only have we been married for a certain amount of time, we have a kid as well, right? So maybe the love isn't as strong as it once was, but your kid growing up with both parents and seeing the love passed between the parents is more beneficial than it being split apart. And we have stats to prove this.
100,000% you're wrong. Do you want to take it or do you want me to?
Go for it.
You can do it.
Let me read these real quick. Plumpy coming in with the big 10 says, keep Christ in Christmas. I love that you say this every time. It's beautiful. It is a kind reminder to everyone that it's not just about buying shit and hanging up lights. It's about Jesus is born, okay? I love it. Thank you. And Wrongful Rage coming in with the big 5. I fight. Don't make Teriak pull out his... Say that word again.
Lele.
Thank you. A weapon and a walking stick. Thank you, Wrongful Rage. All right,
no shenanigans, lad.
So hold on. So
hold on.
I got to answer Flo's question from earlier. I kind of just wanted to listen to everybody else for a minute. But can one person force another person to be in a contract? Absolutely. We do it every single day.
Yep.
I'm about to do it with my tenant. I'm forcing them to either continue to be the tenant or pay me a bunch of money for breaking the lease. That we absolutely do that every single day. And we both entered into that lease. We both entered into that contract of our own free will.
And
if you want to reduce this down to a contract,
did you put in a marriage contract? That's my point. Right. There are no there's no clauses there.
Hey,
I buy. It's not your turn.
Grid, can I follow up your question?
No,
with
you
another
can't,
one?
Hold on, I
motherfucker.
want Flo to finish on his response.
I'm just pointing
to
out that we
Speakeasy.
do absolutely enforce contracts when people don't want to be in them. We do absolutely.
And that's when the relationship between the parties becomes adversarial, which is contrary to the spirit of marriage at all.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just pointing out that if we want to actually enjoy the logic train, let's feast on the whole thing.
May I ask Grid one question?
No, I-Fi, you can't yet.
Sarah, may I ask Grid one question now?
No, you can't.
I've got to jump off. So if anybody wants to get at me, they got to get me quick.
No, what I want to say is that if you have two parents who want to get divorced, and then you force them not to get divorced, that's not
no.
That's not a
let them get divorced.
Huh?
If you have two that want to get divorced, let them get divorced. If you have one that wants to get divorced and one that doesn't, that becomes a contested divorce, and then there has to be, then they go back and forth about it.
But the argument is fault versus no fault.
The problem with no fault, and I'm going to say that most states don't operate this way, and this is one of the issues. Most states, you can't do like you can in California, where you just walk in and say, "Hey, I'm divorcing this guy." You just write out the paper. Maybe they serve him with papers, maybe they don't, or her with whatever. And
you have to get served. You have to get served. Yeah, most states, I think, have a waiting period as well.
There's a cool down period.
I don't think in California do. So I think a lot of the problems that we have or a lot of perceived problems with no fault divorce comes out of very interesting states with horrible laws that need to be reformed, and they just haven't ever been. So like I like my state. It's weird a little bit, but not too bad. I don't know about Kansas. I've never
30-day cool down period, and
yeah. And see, that's kind of reasonable.
Maryland has a year. You have to be separated for a year.
It was a little bit awkward.
Really?
Yeah.
Some
we had to because I went no fault and not fault. I had to go through 1 year of separation before we could proceed with it, and it was kind of like I'm not in a hurry to get anywhere. I could have gone the fault route and been divorced in 30 days. But it would have been a big mess. It would have been super expensive. It was just, in that 1 year of separation, you're working on kind of like separating all, and you're getting used to it. And then by the time you get to the divorce, you've already kind of like grieved the marriage, and they've been out of the house for the year and all of that.
You've already rebounded 3, 4, 5, 6 times.
Oh God, Paige coming in with the big 5. Didn't get to it Monday, but I would never divorce a man unless he cheated on me or was abusive. Fault. Religious marriage for the win.
Well, it sounds like for the loss. Sounds like you're trapped in something that you don't want to be in because you've got a belief system that mandates it.
Yeah, I didn't know about the year thing in your state. That's interesting. I do have to jump off. I was kind of hoping Chris Lestrange would jump up, but he ran away.
Hey, Grid, before you leave, can I ask you a quick question?
Dude, what? Hurry up.
Are people allowed to make contracts that include a lifetime of agreement?
I guess. I don't know.
There's a billion-year contract.
Lawyer.
The Scientology people have a billion-year contract.
You were talking about like a lease, which is obviously a temporary thing. Could I make a contract with you that I can live in that house for my entire life?
Not you, no.
Oh.
You have no consideration in anyone else's marriage, so it's not.
I was trying to give you a way to explain your point, Grid, but you missed it. So
no, I literally I'm fresh out of care for the subject.
Yeah. Flo beat you. Just
go ahead. You can say
final thoughts from you, Grid.
Oh, final thoughts, guys. Have a great night. It was fun. I had like an hour to kill, and I just wanted to get up here. And unfortunately, I really didn't get to hear much from Proncess and Non-Fawn. They're two cool dudes. Speakeasy, always good to see you. Teriak, we'll argue another time. Speakeasy, unfortunately tomorrow night I will not be around. I'm traveling, so I won't be able to come beat you up again. And so
I'll cover for you. I'll tag
you.
There's
always next Friday.
Yeah, next Friday I'll get you. I-Fi, you can't beat Speakeasy like I beat Speakeasy.
Oh man, with ease.
Oh, what are we doing over here? We love you, Greg.
No homo.
No homo. It's just look. It was a good argument though. You gotta understand that was a great debate. I really enjoyed that a lot. Flo, we'll see you. Sarah, stay cool. The rest of you, Ghosty, I don't know you. I'm sorry.
Ghosty's cool. She likes Pink Floyd. She's an honorary member.
Bye, Grid.
It was a great debate. They call it a master debate,
Actually, Speakeasy, with the shades you had on earlier, I'm going to go full homo, so I hope you don't mind.
Oh, goodness. And we do have Grumple Stiltskin backstage waiting as well. If anybody wants to bypass Grumple to the front line, pay to boot somebody. Or
how much is left on I-Fi's permanent ban?
Boot the seashell. He's always right.
We didn't make the goal to boot. I put a new goal up.
But we're not done with the... Yeah. How...
I know the sheep in chat think I'm worth $5. Come on.
Can I rephrase this question in a different way?
You can put somebody backstage for a time, and then we can bring up Grumple within that amount of time. But then you'd have to, once that time runs up, he'd get switched back out unless somebody else paid again to continue the process. So we can play the fun booting backstage game, or, we can just get a...
Whatever. We know that he's there. Nobody cares about him.
Yeah, I tried, Grumble. I tried.
By the way, Teriyaki, Speakeasy's carrying your torch for you, dude. You need to put some more effort into it. Wake up. He's making all the good arguments for you. You're not even
Princess
trying.
is talking. Let Princess talk.
I'm surprised. What was I doing for the first hour of the show?
I want to rephrase this question in a different way, because I can get I like the philosophical take. I'm wondering, in practicality, I'm wondering how this would actually work. I can't envision a good relationship where it's the guy is no, we can't divorce. I'm not allowing it to happen. And that ends with them culminating.
Okay, so let me educate the lefties on panel, because they don't seem to understand the prompt. The prompt is not that we outlaw divorce. The prompt is that we outlaw no-fault divorce.
We outlaw some divorces. So only sometimes would we enforce people who want to be separate.
Yeah, in the case of no faults.
Right.
Versus fault.
People to go through court, prove fault, spend a bunch of money,
or create.
The problem you all see this as trapping people in marriages, but it's actually about making lifelong commitments a lifelong commitment. That's what it is.
If people are
adding a barrier to the fact that if you're gonna get married, in your head you can't just do this and be okay. You know what? One day, if I feel like things aren't going the way I wanted it to, I can just dip and find someone else.
What is the point?
If a richer
how is that a net benefit?
Why is it
I can just ditch this guy.
What's the point of it?
Right? Or if my friends talk me out of it because they're all single and they get to party and I don't get to do that as a married woman.
Why is that bad? Why is that bad? You're saying we should not force a relationship. Why?
Yeah, so because you brought up the contract.
Saying, you know what? This chick's younger. Fuck this bitch. I'm out. Right? It takes away these things. Don't you get it?
I love the kind of contradicting narrative there, that it's not a trap, but it's you're stuck in this lifelong thing. Kind of sounds.
You need to value this thing. We're gonna give you.
We've said that fault divorce is a
You
thing.
make the willing choice to get inside the trap. How is it a trap?
Can you predict the future? Can you predict that you'll want to be with that
Do you understand what a trap is? A trap is unknowing. You wouldn't know what's gonna happen.
What
That's
is the point of non-involved parties?
You guys are just fucking deluded.
So if people aren't committed to the relationship, if people are not committed to the relationship anymore, then how is it still a commitment?
That's why they have to reduce it to a business relationship, and that's why they only care about the money.
But this is the thing I find. Even in the business relationship, they would all you sign a contract with your cell phone carrier. You can't just say, you know what, I'm not feeling this contract. There's repercussions.
That's because they don't want accountability, Teriyaki.
Yeah, there are consequences. You have to prove fault, otherwise you can't get out of it.
To kind of reset the panel a little bit. You guys are hold on. You guys are starting to talk over each other, and it's actually becoming very scrambly, and I get irritable when that happens. Wrongful Rage coming with the big 5. Reason for loveless marriage, an alliance between two families, which used to be part of the marriage contract, so others are involved. That does make sense. Initially, marriages were uniting families together, and families were more involved in the marriage in and of itself, and there was a big support system. But I did make a point a long time ago on another panel that our support systems are no longer living in the same neighborhood as us anymore, where families used to live really close. They're like right down the street within the same city, so on and so forth. We no longer have that. So now the family is left to tend to itself with a very limited support system around them. And I think that does make a difference. 1JP Belly 1 comes in with the big 5. Men want to stay married. 80% of divorces are filed by women. I thought the number was 70 something.
It's 70, and then when you get into college-educated women, it goes up to like 80 to 90.
But I will say I asked my husband to file for a very long time, because I thought, like, if you want to do all of these other things, then why am I, why do you want to be married to me? And he refused to push the button, and I was kind of put in a place where he wasn't going to stop doing what he's doing, but he also wasn't going to let me go either. So I had to push the button. I was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. And I think that might be the case for other people. Men are actually more content.
Before I get my quiet time, can I respond to that last super chat?
No, you can't. That's what quiet time
Shut
means.
up, Hi-Fi. Go ahead, Mel.
Like when you actually look at the research on this, it turns out women are at much greater risk during a divorce, at like poverty, not being able to get jobs, peer support, all sorts of things. It's often worse off for them, which often shows that they want it more, which also kind of makes me wonder, like, maybe not all women want to be like laborers for men in the household for free, no less. So that way they can go and live out their dreams and shit like that. Well,
laborers for men, so they can go live out their dreams while they're slaving at work for
women are essentially
You're an idiot. You're an actual idiot. Do you
under the patriarchy,
before you say them?
While under the
so what's the dude when he needs to fucking take out the trash, fix parts on the car, fix parts around the house?
And I will find some disagreement there as well, Mel, because she doesn't have to be divorced in order to get a job. Now if he is restricting her from being able to do things that she's legally granted those rights to, now that is an actual reason for, that's
look how many red pillars on this panel probably would.
But what I'm saying is she wouldn't have to get a divorce in order to go and pursue college or a job, or she could still be married and do those things just the same. So I think that
ideally,
thank you, Hi-Fi. So I think that inevitably, like, that's not necessarily a button pushing issue. Now, if he is restricting her movement, and that's a legal right that she has as a person, then you're talking something completely that goes into an abusive realm. So that's a little bit different.
All right, folks, I'm going to go for 10 minutes. Just remember how many men on these panels tend to say women belong to men.
Oh, it's more than 10 minutes. Wait till she's done reading the super chat.
Oh,
Go ahead,
Sarah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Read your super chats
real quick. Shut up. All right, we got Grumpelstiltskin coming in that place. We got 10 minutes for Mel, 15 minutes for Mel.
Good evening, y'all.
20 minutes for Mel. Thank you, Mel, for sacrificing. I will set the timer now.
Can y'all hear me?
Lots of people. Yeah, we can hear you.
I sound like a 20 pack a day for a 30-year smoker currently. I'm still getting my voice back. I apologize.
She said. Look, if you stop putting dicks in your mouth, that won't happen.
I mean,
Sarah, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah,
just to make sure, because I thought I heard that too. Did you say that it would be abusive not to let your wife work?
If you're like in a place where you're actually constricting her and telling her you're like, no, you're not going to, in an abusive manner, or like not letting her leave the house, or like other things. That's where
you mean like physically holding her, but like if she wanted to
you don't
like
physically hold her down for it to be
hold up.
That's what I was gonna say.
Sarah, relax for a second, chill.
Okay, well,
so like if she wanted to go be a police officer, say, And the husband was like, no, you're not doing that shit. I don't want you out there risking your life like that.
That's a little extreme.
That'd be abusive,
Certainly,
or
no.
Oh, okay.
What
Okay.
I was saying is that's
you're
not
just saying if it was like a
necessarily-
physical holding of.
Yeah, what I'm saying, you're missing the point. I was disagreeing with the Furby, saying you don't have to divorce your husband just to go find yourself and find your dreams and get a job or go to college or whatever it is you want to do.
Okay.
What I was saying was, now if he is restricting her by like a way of saying, no, you're not allowed to work, you're not allowed to leave the house, or like in a way that like forcing that upon her, then that's a whole nother concept where you are limiting her rights that she legally has. But it wouldn't be a reason that I would say like you had to divorce him to go get a job. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Marriage is
another 5 onto Furby. Go ahead, Ghosty.
Okay. So the other issue is that a lot of people, like especially the people who want to abolish no-fault divorce, they don't recognize emotional abuse. So just you don't have to physically restrain somebody from not getting a job in order for it to be abusive. You can be abusive in ways without physicality.
That would be fault. Again, when I was reading out cruelty or domestic violence, physical, emotional, or psychological abuse that makes living together intowife.
That's even dumb though. Emotional abuse this is such a subjective thing. Like, are you gonna say like if a wife was like nagging a husband to do something, and he said, "Shut the fuck up! I'm not doing it right now."
Abuse.
That would be emotional abuse?
No, that's not emotional abuse.
Explain to me what emotional abuse is.
Emotional abuse is when you're controlling somebody, you are verbally abusing them.
Vague. That's like,
why would anybody need to explain this though? The point is that
what does that mean?
Yeah, you should have to.
You don't need to justify how you manage
your
the relationship.
Saying that it's because someone in the marriage has the final say, so they're controlling, right? If a husband says, "No, I'm not. My wife isn't going out to the clubs dressed like a skank," and that's
why do you have to use fucking gloves?
Like,
oh my god,
this is the thing. It's very.
You go to these fucking super niche things that don't apply to like real life fucking situations.
Even at that, if you
That's
marry
not a real life situation.
Hold on, stop, Speakeasy. Why the fuck would you marry a woman that's going out to nightclubs and dressing like a hoe?
What if my wife went hunting polar bears without me?
Well, sometimes
you guys make me think you've never lived life, like ever.
But because everybody's human, right? Sometimes married women will have single friends, and their single friends will try to get the married women to come do the single shit.
You watch too much TV.
And I'm asking you, in that situation where the woman says, "Hey, can I actually go out with my friends to the club tonight?" He's like, "No, I'm not going out to the club. What do you think this is?"
Why is he not?
Okay, what is
I think there's a difference.
No, that's not the, why are you asking me a question? I'm asking you if he says that, is that emotional abuse?
It could be abusive, yes.
It's controlling.
Okay,
see,
there's a difference
this
between
is why
like,
emotional abuse is
and
not a good
controlling
standard
someone,
to have,
right?
because it's subjective and it all could be. What if
She doesn't need a justification. These are voluntary relationships.
There's a difference between like
marriage as a contract.
Speakeasy, shut up.
It's totally fine.
Easy, shut up. But you interrupt everybody.
That's what the issue. It's problematic because there is the potential for abuse. Yeah, that's why we're saying that's a problematic thing. You're kind of implying, yeah, it's totally fine. We don't have to.
It's subjective.
Yeah, but Bronze, I'll remind you again.
I'll
remind you.
It's a difference between boundaries and controlling.
Person finish their thought, please. Princess, I don't know if you concluded or not because I couldn't fucking hear it.
Grumple's doing.
So if you want to finish, Prawn, go ahead.
I kind of wrapped it up, but I think it's right there. The point we're trying to make is there's the potential for abuse. That's why we say that is like maybe problematic behavior. The way Speakeasy is speaking about it is like, oh, this is never concerning at all. It's nothing we have to be worried about at all. We're saying there's potential for abuse. So yes, we have
really bad argument.
Yeah, but wait, one sec, because I just want to remind the panel, because this is again that has happened. We're not saying we're getting rid of divorce. We're getting rid of no-fault divorce. But by saying, what if he's abusive? That's fault, you dumb fucks.
Sure. We're talking about the nuances right now of whether it's okay to say to your girl, you can't go do this job. That could be abusive. Yes. I don't know why that's complicated.
It's hard to prove. It's really
But
hard
that's
to
not the topic. It's no-fault divorce.
My turn.
That's the point. That's the point, Teriak, is that fault, I already explained it to you earlier, is incredibly difficult to prove. especially emotional abuse, or how can you prove that he's not letting you go out or see your friends or even get a job or whatever. You have to prove it if you're demanding a fault.
This is why adults should not have to justify this shit to anybody. You're a person, you're autonomous, you entered into a voluntary relationship, you can leave that voluntary relationship. Ta-da.
For this example,
we should be
100%. No, hang on. I've been standing by for a moment now. For this example, 100%. Nightclubs are degeneracy. It's for single people. If you're married, you're on a team, and you should not be putting yourself in a position of what is this compromise?
What if you go to the club with your spouse?
What about between someone setting boundaries and someone controlling someone? So you can set a person's boundary, like, hey, if you go to a nightclub, that's not.
Oh, one at a time, one at a time, y'all.
You're wrong.
That's
what
why
if your wife
I
gets a job at a nightclub?
This is why I
What are you
made
gonna
the
do?
point.
Tell her she can't have a job?
This is why I made the point that if you're marrying a person who is regularly going to nightclubs with her girlfriends, and then all of a sudden you have a problem with it, well, that's who the fuck you married, right? Now, I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm certainly not saying that you can like suddenly demand change, or that change should have been established before you fucking married the bitch and made her.
Your recourse is to leave the relationship, right? You don't gain the control over her life. You still maintain your own autonomy as a she. You're all adults, and this is the West. We're not in.
Yeah, marriage is supposed to be about commitment and sacrifice, right? That's the problem.
According to who?
You guys want marriage to be like this willy-nilly thing that if it's not like rainbow and roses and unicorns,
that's not what we're fucking talking about. That's
your ego and let go of control.
That's what you want it to be, right?
It's a business contract between friends, speak.
Yeah, that's what you want it to be. You want it to be that if marriage isn't this like wonderful thing that you exactly pictured in your head.
We're not asking it to be perfect.
Nobody's saying that at all.
At any time you want.
Nobody's saying that at all.
Literally nobody is saying that.
You just said that you should be able to leave for no reason.
Anybody should be able to leave at any time. I understand.
Ghosty, what's the point?
Pardon me for just a moment. Ghosty, you got 5 minutes backstage, okay? I'll set a timer for you.
Don't worry, I'll fill in.
There's lots of points of getting married. It's cultural. It's legal. There's all sorts of benefits. You may not think it's as good as God. I don't give a fuck though. They are reasons, nevertheless.
So people get confused, and I just
for the benefit of yourself.
If I may, just for less than a minute.
This is why we argue against no fault divorce, because it takes away what marriage.
Easy. You have never been married. Three mamas. You're not.
Ooh, and what? And what? What does that have to do with this fucking argument, you retard?
Okay, so here we go. Hang on. Y'all, give me just a moment on this one. Okay, so marriage. Speak easy. I'm on your side, brother, man.
You gonna bring up my baby moms for you, fucking loser?
Well, okay. The argument there. Hold on. The argument there. I will give you the argument, Speakeasy. And this is, and I'm not attacking you. I'm saying as the argument, here's what the hypothetical would be to that. If you go out and let's pretend you have 3 baby mamas and you're making babies, right? There's a moral effort there that needs to be instilled on. You've knocked a woman up. You should have married her to begin with.
Yeah. I made mistakes in my past. That has nothing to do with this argument, Sarah. That has literally nothing to do with this fucking argument.
Stop there. Listen to what you're saying. You made mistakes, okay?
And it has nothing to do with this argument. Do you get that? Does it have anything to do with this argument?
You married somebody.
This argument?
I'm trying to answer you, Speakeasy.
No, it doesn't.
Talking over me.
I could be right now married, cheating on my wife, blowing hookers, and blow every night. It still wouldn't take away from my argument. Attack my argument, not me. You fucking pussy.
I said
it's easy to bring up personal
argument.
It's easy to bring up personal attacks when you have no fucking argument.
And I'm trying to hypothetical. Listen.
Fucking loser over here. Not everybody wants to be a weekend getting nudes from everybody on the fucking internet.
Sarah, before you do the hypothetical, may I engage in just defining definitions?
Yeah, bro.
Sure.
Fucking googly-eyed bitch.
We
have glasses, bro.
Just a moment.
Chill. Let the panel.
Just a moment.
Chill. It's funny. It's chill. If anyone brought up your fucking shit about your personal life, it'd be chill.
I wouldn't take it.
I've been divorced
too. You wouldn't take it.
Come on,
okay.
man.
Well,
I openly
in Wars too.
I'm trying to listen to you.
Easy to bring up personal attacks when you have no
man.
fucking argument.
Oh my God.
So marriage. Let's just define, because see, here's the confusion. I think because there's conflation.
Never talk like that in my face, though.
Is
you'd eat those?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You wouldn't. Oh yeah.
You both back.
You're old and brittle now, buddy. You're long past.
You're like 107-pound little Canadian
today.
twink. I'd fuck you up.
So
Yeah, it's easy to bring up personal attacks when you have no arguments, isn't it?
It speaks to the your credibility with this argument. You're proposing a whole.
My credibility? No, that has no. Again, I could be doing things and blow every night.
That you do not hold
yourself. Give me an argument against mine. Not once this whole time.
Your proposals for other people and their relationships are ones you do not hold yourself to.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. What do you mean? Now I do. Would you tell a heroin addict that got away from heroin that he shouldn't be telling people not to do heroin?
I would tell a heroin addict he should take the needle out of his arm before he's in a position to tell people that.
Coward. Answer my question.
You're not off heroin in this example.
Yeah, exactly, you fucking pussy. That's what I thought. No, but I didn't marry in my past, but I'm married now, you goofy fuck.
Are you?
You didn't know that, did you? Because I don't go around making announcements and hold it like a fucking title and a trophy, you goofy fuck.
Let me see that. Let me see that left hand.
Doesn't mean nothing to you, though.
Let me see that left hand. Did you just make up a wife to win an argument?
Yeah, I just made it up. Yep, that's what I did.
Let me see your left hand.
Do you have actual arguments or no?
I've had an actual wife. I think you just made one up.
Your channel was a failure, buddy, because you're a drama fucking loser. That's why you lost monetization. You'll lose it again. You know what? And I have no problem to admit many people.
Can I meet your wife? Can we see the ring?
My family personally, they went after you hard for your channel, bro. And look what happened. Huh?
Oh, you're the reason that I got you.
Karma's a bitch. Karma's a bitch. Keep going on about my family. What happened to your channel again? Go ahead.
You know that the strikes. Let me tell
you know.
Easy. They were unlisted videos. You had nothing to do with it. You don't matter. You don't matter to you. Like you don't matter to your kids.
I want everyone to see your googly eyes. Take your glasses off.
Like you don't matter to your fake
life. You're a fucking loser, bro. You're a loser. You're a loser.
That comment really hurt you.
As fuck, right? I made something that you wish you could have even made a piece of.
What did
you
make?
And that's what you're jealous of, and that's why you attacked me personally, right?
No, I attacked you personally because
my life is what you wish you could do. You wish you could have the movie I make on YouTube. You wish that you could look like me. You wish you were a little younger. I literally have the life you wish you had.
You're ugly as fuck. Why would I want to look like you?
Like the dude that was like the high school football player but never made it. That's you. You're washed up, bro. You're a fucking loser. You got no arguments and you try to debate people and then you go to personal attacks every time your arguments get backed up.
All I pointed out was that
you're a fucking whole bitch, dude.
Hold on. Stop ad homing. Stop ad homing. Let me explain this to you.
Stop ad homing. Stop ad homing. What was it when you brought up my baby moms? What was that? An ad hom?
Mm-hmm. You're really emotional. Can I
explain this emotional. Why?
Maybe if you understood what I was trying to say, it wouldn't hurt your feelings.
Nobody really does, actually. Nobody really does. They go to your channel for the drama that's on there, not for you. You don't have a personality.
Weird, dude. Can we get back to your wife?
You understand that? You don't have no personality, no branding. There's no theme about you. There's nothing about you that stands out. Your name is
good at triggering people.
Not your own. There's a bigger channel that's
really good at making people angry.
This fucking guy. Come on,
I have good shorts. My shorts are funny. People love my shorts. Show your googly
eyes for everybody. Come on. Show them. Show everybody your
I'll do it when you show me your wife.
Go, show everybody your lazy eye, bro.
Let's you get your wife. I'll take off my sunglasses.
Go get yours. Go get yours.
You made up a motherfucking wife to try to win an argument.
Go get yours. Where's yours?
She's been on all the time.
Go get her.
No, mine actually exists. Everybody knows
that. Go get her.
I didn't make up a wife. You just made up a wife here on the spot.
I didn't make
That's
up a wife.
amazing.
Go get your wife.
I don't need to prove she exists.
I don't need to prove my wife exists either.
Yeah. Your wife
Bro, you live in a delusional world. Yeah, light your cigarette, buddy. It's getting stressful, isn't it? Poor guy. I feel bad for you, bro. I feel bad for you. It's a cool
over here
bandana,
making up
bro.
wives and shit.
It's a cool bandana. Is it? It's because you wish you were a biker? Is this where this came from?
No. Oh, no, this is
Are you
because
balding? Are you balding? Is that why you've been wearing the bandana? Are you balding, bro? Let's see it. Let's see it, bro.
I haven't showered since I got off the job.
You ugly fucking mutt.
But you know what? I take care of my kids. I take care of my kids.
Bro.
I stay with my women.
Bro. Worry about your own shit, bro. Worry about your own shit. Mind your business.
I do worry about my shit.
No, you don't.
You don't worry about your shit.
Yeah, I do actually.
That's why you're not.
I didn't bring up any of your shit, bro. I didn't bring up any of your shit.
To give the advice that you're trying to give.
I'm not qualified to give the. Okay,
never
so
been married.
Can you speak on abortion flow state? Can you speak on abortion flow state?
What do I have? What does that have to do with anything?
Can you? Are you? Can you speak on abortion? Are you qualified?
I haven't had.
Oh, you see that? You see, every time you get backed into something,
here's the difference. Hold on, here's the difference. Here's the difference.
No. You don't have a womb.
You are actively doing. You are actively doing everything that you say not to do is you.
Get a life.
You're preaching against yourself, and then you get mad when I point it out.
You or me, bro.
Why did you get so mad when I pointed out
that envy's leaking out your fucking ears, bro? That envy's leaking out your fucking ears, bro.
Man.
That envy's leaking out your ears.
Nobody wants to be you with your Timu chains, your
even
weird puffy
his
beard,
background lights to red. Do we see this right now? He even changed his backlight lights to red. You literally do everything like me, you fucking loser. You started doing the things that I do on Verbal Combat. You even tried to run a Verbal Combat show. You literally try to beat me. You're a loser.
No, I just stole Verbal Combat from you because you were crying about it so much. Do you realize that that's not a creative idea at all? You didn't.
All right, boys. The dick measuring contest is done.
All you got is a personal attack. Don't debate people, you fucking idiot.
Y'all need to get counseling, marriage counseling.
There's only one person speaking here.
Only one of us has been married, so only one of us could go to marriage counseling.
Stand by. Ticky tack. Ticky tack. You had a point. You said it was going to be fast or whatever you want. Go ahead, Ticky tack. Bring up your.
I have definitions. As soon as that.
Yeah. I only want to bring up a story on the abuse narrative around no fault divorce. Now, I understand that the counter arguments everybody's bringing up is that, well, it would be a case of, well, at fault divorce. There would be a fault to play out. But in my given situation, the only evidence that would have be able to present against my father was for myself or my brother to testify in court in order to follow through on the divorce. That was the only thing that was holding it back. He was really sneaky. He was really smart in being able to hide a lot of his abuse. Whereas if there was just no fault divorce, we could have just ended it right then and there and just walked away from the situation.
Yeah, but the counter argument to that is in the case of Grape.
What do you mean? What? No, I don't.
So for example, the only way to convict someone of rape is if the victim actually gets on stand and actually talks about it, and that's a difficult thing.
Yeah, and essentially that burden was on myself and my brother as children.
Yeah, so?
And that's a difficult thing for children to go through.
Yeah, just because it's difficult doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
Okay, try explaining that to a child.
It doesn't matter, because either way, what you're doing is you're offering protections for the abuser.
Aren't you
yeah,
trying to
because
not
I don't understand as a child, because I'm naive, I'm stupid. It's like I grew up in an abusive situation that I didn't know any better. So I thought the whole family value was the idea of, oh, we're supposed to keep the family unit together. But now that I'm older, sure, it would be so easy to tell myself as a child, yeah, go and actually testify, your life would be a lot better. But as a child, you just don't understand this shit.
Yeah, but then you could just make the same
most
argument.
cases-
Wait, you could just make the same argument for a PDF file. It's very difficult for the child to actually admit what happened and went down.
What? This is
For
like just way off.
For a PDF file who got abused, for them to go into court and testify against their abuser.
And you do realize that a lot of convictions go off to the side for PDFs because the child has the inability to actually testify on it because of the trauma.
Yes, and a lot of abusers PDF files get off scot-free.
That proves my point that children don't
doesn't.
have the mental capacity in order to do
No,
these
it doesn't.
things.
Because it should not happen.
It does. The statistics does
Because
prove
what you're
it.
doing is you're offering protections for the abuser because it's different for the children.
so what's the counter evidence to my counter evidence then? Seriously, come on. You're just stretching here. You're just stretching here. You're just being a contrarian at this point.
No, I've disproven your point because you've tried to say, because it's difficult for the kids. But in the case, your logic would entail that you would no. Your logic's entailing that the kids shouldn't testify against the PDF file.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You straw man my argument right there. No, that is
because
not
you said that your father was an abuser.
You straw man. You straw man.
How am I straw man? You just said your father was an abuser.
No, you straw man. Yeah, I could tell you if you shut up. All right. So the straw man is that I am recommending that children do not testify. No, that is not what I said. What I said is that the rational abilities of the child, they're incapable of doing it because they're so freaking fragile in the mind. They don't understand what the fuck is going on.
So children never testify against PDF files.
Not all the time.
Yeah,
it's literally
what you're saying is what you're arguing for. What you're arguing for is that the kids shouldn't testify against, and that abuser should be protected.
Literally, I just got you a counter. What the hell are you
event.
talking about, Teriak? You're just so far gone.
I'm pointing out the flaw in your logic.
No, you're not. You're just presenting flawed logic to prove my
because
good
I want the abusers to be held accountable. Yeah, shame on Teriak. Shame on Teriak for wanting abusers to be held accountable.
Treated the same as adults.
You're straw manning my argument.
In the other case, you're just
I'm not straw manning your argument.
Yes, you are. You're doing straw man.
How am I doing straw man? Where's the straw man?
The straw man is that you're saying I'm somehow advocating for children not to testify, or I'm somehow advocating for. No, I'm not. That's not. That's the straw man. Yeah. That's the straw man that you're posing on me.
You said that children shouldn't have to testify against an abuser.
No, I have never said that.
What
I never said that.
You just made that was your case for no fault divorce.
I never said that. I never said that.
Because you're saying it's difficult for children, or it could be traumatizing for children.
Teriak, should children be treated the same?
I never said that.
Let me reset the panel. Jess Gerald coming in with a big 10. If you can break up the marriage for any reason, then what the hell is the point of the marriage? Just be a couple and don't go to a courthouse.
That's a great segue into what I have been wanting to do here, a definition. Let's be clear on terms. So marriage, right? The word marriage. Let's be clear about definitions here. So marriage is a sacrament under God that happens in a church, and it's ordained by the church. And then also, funny thing, marriage is also a contract under the title system recognized by the federal government of most countries, under the title system.
Only if you file for a marriage.
The super funny thing, and the point of contention, is that these things are spelled and sound exactly the same, but they're not the same thing. And I think conflation is happening when these discussions happen.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then Christina coming in with the big three.
Booyah, shakalaka, makalaka.
Pardon me, I'm reading these. Christina coming in with the big 3. Speakeasy is 100% correct here. That was during your speed date. Plumpy coming in with the big 5. To err is human. To forgive is divine. Thank you, Plumpy. Wrongful rage coming with the big 5. Speakeasy went straight. Speak harshly.
Got really upset getting called out of hypocrisy.
Yeah, this is true. Wrongful rage coming with the big 5. Andrew. He's been invoked. That was not on my doing, but I believe he showed up in the chat. And then the Trib one coming up with the big 5. The assumption is kids wouldn't know better, so it's up to the adults to follow through as it should be. Thank you, Trib.
Exactly.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, so the adults should convince the kids to actually give evidence against the abuser.
Sometimes it's not that easy.
It doesn't matter if it's easy or not. Should the kid do it? Yes or no? Should the adults convince the kid to testify?
Yeah,
it'd be treated.
yeah,
as-
Okay, so then your argument against no fault divorce is null and void. Thank you.
No, it's not
Terry,
because
here's my rebuttal to your.
I'm
claim.
curious.
You just argued for no fault because then the kid wouldn't have to testify, and you just said the kid should testify.
that's a straw man again. That's a straw man
It's
again.
not a straw man. That's just your
Should
argument.
is different.
No, it's
from
not.
can.
You're literally, you don't even understand. Steel man my argument and just tell me. I'll tell you
You're
whether
saying
you're right
that
or
it
wrong.
would be easier for the kids if they don't have to testify because you could just claim no fault divorce.
Nope, not at all. Not even close.
Okay, then what's your argument again? Okay, try to come up with a different argument then.
So my argument is that the children are incapable of understanding the situations that are in front of them, so they don't even know how to testify. They don't even know how to build emotional strength to go up there. They don't know how to understand what is abuse or what is not. Children are so incapable of handling these extreme traumatic situations. It's just that's how. And the thing is that I'm just literally talking from experience here because I was one of those children that was abused.
So should they testify? Yes or no?
Yes, they should.
Yes. So you should have fault divorce.
But they are mentally incapable.
Terry thinks that
your argument can then be applied to PDFs. So they're incapable.
You've never raised children, have you?
No.
Again, what's that got to do with the argument?
He's never been married either.
Because you would understand
when they
how
can't
naive
contend
children
with the
are.
point, they go after the person. It's literally the definition of adult.
You guys have
offering your point,
and
you're trying
to
to
get back in a corner. Is that all you
This
guys
is
do?
exactly why many kids
Holy
don't come after their PDF file abusers until they're adults. This is why many abused children don't say these things until they're older because they are manipulated. They don't understand these things.
Yes,
they're
but
incapable.
we're saying they should.
Terry,
yeah, they should.
Yes, they should. Yes. So you are arguing
nobody's
the broader
contesting
point.
that.
You're arguing
Nobody's
in favor of fault
contesting that.
divorce. You should hold the abuser accountable.
Do you think we should require the same?
I
think we should require the same standard of evidence, the criminal conviction on someone versus just letting someone walk away from a marriage. I don't see why these two standards of evidence need to be the same thing.
Because his whole argument is like, this is a reason why we should have no fault divorce, because then the kids shouldn't have to testify.
It's crazy.
No, it's not that they shouldn't have to. That's not my argument. They're mentally incapable.
So, but based on that logic, you're saying that kids are mentally incapable of testifying against PDFs.
They're not
a lot of times, yeah, because they're so traumatized that they won't even go up on that stand.
But you just agreed that they should testify.
That's going on. Yeah,
but you
they
just
should.
agreed they should.
No,
yes.
what he's saying is that sometimes the
So
kids
we should have fault divorce. We should prove fault.
Sometimes the kids are the only ones.
No, because then you would just get people trapped in traumatic situations in abusive relationships where it could just be no fault and they could walk away from the situation.
If both parents were fighting for custody, it wouldn't matter. The kid would still be involved. Do you understand that, right?
Usually you would get in an instance like
divorce.
In an instance like this, you could essentially get an advocate for the child. And then that advocate could actually kind of speak on the child's behalf and when it comes to the legal portions of it and trying to work through those issues. And maybe
if you want to involve family and children's services, sure, yeah.
But that also adds
you can get them an actual legal advocate. Now, essentially, Child Protective Services and so on and so forth could be called into that. But if you want to avoid that, based on what I'm understanding with Ticky Tack, like sometimes the best instance is to just pack and go. Trib One coming in with the big 5. If the kid can contribute, then that's good. But the point is for the responsible adult to get the evidence and present it, not for the kid to do it. Wrongful Rage coming in with the big 5. Furby gets 5 more minutes with the banana. All right, Furby, you're back with 5 more minutes backstage. Or it's down to 3 now since I started it already. Go ahead, Ticky.
Oh, I'm just there's a complete divide between like what ought be and what actually is, like what is actually happening in reality. That's where the issue lies. It's like we should, in a perfect world, be able to testify against our abusers and things like that, and particularly children in this scenario because they don't really have much autonomy for themselves. But it just doesn't work that way all the time. And it's like I was caught up in one of those abusive situations within our family. And the only way to get out of it was to testify between myself or my brother to do it. But I don't know. There was some sort of weird mental block that exists. And it probably is part of the trauma itself. In the fact that it's so wired in your head that your abuser is telling you to never talk to police, never talk to anybody. That is just... you're broken. You are a broken kid.
Well, nobody
and
should
you
ever
won't
talk
be
to
able to
police.
testify.
Yes, but the caveat here is to say, okay, well, I'm just going to take no fault, and then the abuser gets off scot-free. So in your situation,
it's an
you're advocating
unfortunate
for protection for
situation,
the
but
abuser.
it's better than staying in the abusive situation.
Exactly.
Yes, but you can still get divorced. You can still have a divorce. I'm just saying to have a fault and then prove the abuse, so
What
then
if
that
you
person
can't
doesn't abuse
prove it?
again.
Are you
Then
just
divorce is
ignoring
fine.
my act? So
Because then the abuser doesn't get
Alright,
the actual
so if-
punishment because you haven't
all right, so
proven it.
here, let me build the scenario.
He continues to get away with the abuse.
I'm back to being
Exactly.
a child at 8 years old, and I'm going through all this abuse, and you approach me, and you know that I have to testify to court to go on to this. How would you coerce me into doing that?
But
Why is there
you wouldn't
coercion?
coerce them.
You're asking a child to say bad things about their parent, and openly discuss traumatizing events that they may or may not even know are good or bad, or may very well just be traumatized at reliving the event verbally to explain it. It's a really big. They try their best to try not to put children up there, and they go through a lot of protective measures. They won't even put them in front of the person. They'll have them in a separate room and bring a video into the actual courtroom because you have that right. But they won't even put them in front of their abusers because they're so mentally and emotionally traumatized that it can actually cause more issues later on down the road.
And this was during a time when like camera technology wasn't very well available. It was expensive, so it wasn't like I couldn't like record stuff.
Meta question: Why are we using
the question
word
can then be
coercion?
applied to why get children to test against PDF files?
Why are we trying to coerce?
What are you asking? I didn't hear you.
The same question.
It's just not a good
you just
comparison.
apply the logic to. Why would you even get kids to testify against PDF files?
Why would I? What? I'm not saying that they shouldn't go and testify. That's not what I'm saying. I don't know why.
Just asked me, you just came to situation. It's like you're a kid. You suffered abuse. Convince me to
because I'm
to
telling
think.
you what it is. I'm not
Because
saying
in this case,
that's
the
just how it
pedophile
is.
would still be their parent, and they'd still have to live a life with them.
Right, you're not
That's why it's a
understanding.
bad analogy.
Those kids should do that, but they can't always do it. They're not always capable.
Yeah.
And the abusive parent can manipulate that kid to not give all the
but
full
the
evidence. And if that's
solution-
the only, hold on, if that's the only way for that marriage to end because we have no fault, then the abusive parent could get away with that if their kids are incapable of providing the evidence, and then they're stuck in that abusive relationship still.
First of all, it's not the only
All right,
way. There's fault divorce where you prove the abuse, and then that person doesn't abuse again.
In the
Yeah,
All right. So let me reshape.
How is
let
all
me
this abuse going
let-
on, but the only evidence you have is the kids? This makes no
I don't
sense.
understand why
happens
the
all the
people who I'm
fucking time,
constantly
dude.
I was
hearing
in that
saying they have
situation.
to protect the kids. Everyone who's
Oh, yeah, I
constantly saying
forgot.
the kids,
Yelling
the
is
kids.
emotional abuse.
This is one of the few things that can actually protect the kids from having to go through this really crappy part of the breakup of their parents. Can protect them from having to pick sides. Can protect them from having to literally harm the life of one of their other parents. It can get them out of this without having to choose sides and possibly wreck a relationship with one of their parents for the rest of their lives. So why is this such a contention with
the
everyone?
relationship is already wrecked. That's why they're filing for divorce.
Absolutely, but now you're going to make your kids a literal tool of revenge.
Always.
In the case of abuse,
It happens a lot.
Most of the time, but not always.
Yeah, no. A lot of assumptions there, right? The assumptions are that parents will always weaponize their kids, but if they were not able to get divorced, then they would somehow magically work it out. So you've got both the best and the worst behaviors coming out of the same parents. If I understand.
For Teriak, I have a question. Are we requiring the same level of evidence to get a divorce as to get a criminal conviction for abuse?
No, well, basically what we're arguing at the moment is that it's like we have a fault, but we're just not going to use a fault. We're just going to take the easy way out and just say no fault and then let an abuser walk free. That's what we're saying at the moment.
No, it's not. He can't handle
That was literally ticky-tack's. That was literally ticky-tack's
you're saying,
situation for no fault.
You don't want me
You're
to
saying
fill
like
in
the reason
fill
like
gap
you
for
want there to be fault in divorce is partly because you want the abuser to actually be held accountable. But in order to be held accountable,
Yes.
you need to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you saying that we need to prove abuse beyond a reasonable doubt just so someone can get a
There needs to be
divorce?
evidence. Yes, that's how.
Evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. There's gonna be evidence beyond a reasonable doubt.
I mean, if there's a reasonable doubt, why would you?
Yeah, if he's beating her every day and she has a bunch of bruises.
Even
and
at that,
pictures
that's
of,
all.
like,
You could
black
still
eyes and
hold
stuff,
him
yeah.
accountable.
That's
Even
proof.
at that, you could still hold him accountable in criminal court. Not even like intermingle that with your divorce. Now,
Yeah,
if
but
you
you can
held him
definitely
criminally, if you held him criminally and he was found guilty, then you could utilize that as your weapon for a fault divorce and do whatever you want. But if you're choosing to just remove the child from the situation, get a no fault divorce and be gone, and the safety is the child is now the best interest of the mother, then that's like she's done what she needs to do, and essentially she chose that was the best interest of the child at the time.
That's why civil cases usually happen after a criminal, so it can be used as evidence.
Exactly. And Plumpy coming in with the big 5. Yeah, whatever that nerdy chick said. Thank you, Plumpy.
Nerds.
Nerd Central.
I guess like in one case, in case of a criminal conviction, you're taking away someone's rights, like versus a divorce, you're just like ending a contract between two people. I don't see why we would have the same level of evidence beyond a reasonable doubt.
So that we could make
things
the
breaking
lifelong commitment back to what it was supposed to be, a lifelong commitment. You keep asking the
You
why.
can't make one to
But
begin with.
but the thing is, the lifelong
asking why you have
commitment
the
is a
same
cultural and a
level.
societal thing. It's not a legal binding contract thing. When you think about it, we have to change the culture so people
Over your
don't
breath.
get divorced. That's ultimately the best solution. This whole idea of where we need to have these legally binding contracts is also stupid because when you really think about marriage, it's something that is performed in the church, So it's like if you're religious and you want to get married, you go through your church and you do that.
Talking across from each other.
This is what I was saying on my panel. The problem is not how we fix like divorce, it's how we fix relationships in general so that they don't end in divorce.
Modernity is the problem.
Abolishing no-fault divorce isn't going to fix marriages or relationships.
Yeah, marriages and relationships is two different things. This is what the problem is. You see it as the same thing.
That's totally non-responsive.
That's non-responsive. Do you want me to say it slower for you? Marriage
I heard you.
and regular
I fucking heard
relationships
you.
are not the same thing.
How do you
I heard
know?
you.
How do you know?
Because marriage is.
What is the point of
definition
marrying if it's not a step up from
Marriage
a relationship? What is
a
the point?
type of a relationship.
Is a marriage a
Are you
relationship?
gonna listen and answer my question, or?
And it
It's
is
a very
step up
significant
from
relationship
an
in two
unmarried
different contexts.
Yeah, I didn't hear.
It's a
anything.
sacrament and a legal contract under the title system.
Yeah,
That
I
is
know what it
sacrament.
is. Tell me why it ought to be that. If it's nothing more than just a relationship, why should there be just a contract to add on to your relationship?
Definitionally, a relationship. It has a contract because you get certain rights from the government when you are a married couple, when you have that status. And this is basically just
And
cementing-
what is wrong? What is wrong with you having a requirement of a lifelong commitment to be entitled to those rights?
That's between you and your religion or however you view marriage. That has nothing to do with the
Forget
actual
religion.
contract.
Tell me why it's wrong.
Because
this is
it
an
adds
example.
burdens to a situation.
Different
and it
definition.
provides
Everyone
no
hopes
benefit.
their marriage lasts forever.
Never gonna agree.
Right?
Wait,
Everyone who gets
again, you're
married
all
hopes it
answering at
lasts
the
forever.
same time. I can't even understand what you're saying.
Because y'all are talking about marriage with different definitions. I defined them just like 5-10 minutes ago. And
religious people intentionally.
you're talking about the one.
Yeah, I agree with Grumple.
I'm sorry, I can't see your name. Picture with glasses guy. You're talking about the other definition, which is like a contract under the title system that gets tax benefits. These are two different things, and they have the same name, and that's where the confusion comes in. So you're going to always talk past each other if you're talking about your thing and he's talking about his thing, and they're the different things, and it's never gonna meet up.
All of us though deal with the secular one, right? That seems like the logical. One.
Yeah, I think the overall concept that we're deferring to tonight is secularism, and I think we've all agreed that if it is based on a church or religion marriage, that would be held within the church on what to do, and and then go forward legally. Nephilim coming in with the big
that's
two.
where
Why?
we were at. I don't think Speakeasy's on that same page either.
Hold on. Nephilim coming in with the big two. Why is it the government's business to enforce it? That's a good point. Austin Martindale coming with the big 5. Yes, beyond a reasonable doubt, you must prove abuse, or it's then just hearsay. Hearsay. Ruining a reputation of someone is way too easy with no fault.
It's government's job to ruin it because that's what government does. It expands into every part of your life.
How do you ruin anyone's reputation?
Not be done without.
That's a silly statement.
That's what government does.
Also, just because something isn't beyond a reasonable doubt doesn't mean it's hearsay. That adds a specific definition, but okay.
True.
I just don't see. My point was just that for ending a marriage, I don't even with fault divorce. I actually don't know the way it works in family court, though. I don't see why you should have to prove to the standard of getting a criminal conviction, because the consequence of getting a criminal conviction is that person goes to jail. The consequence of getting a divorce is just no longer being married and maybe like some alimony payments. These are different levels of consequences, and therefore should probably require different levels.
Maybe some alimony payments. He says totally like washing out
alimony payments. If there's
10% of marriages get alimony.
Yeah, in a civil suit, you can be paid millions of dollars in damages, and a civil suit is still based on preponderance of evidence, not beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes.
Right, but that was his point, that the evidence would stem heavier to the fact that there was abuse rather than there wasn't, for it to be a fault divorce.
We're talking, what is the burden of proof? Like, is it a criminal level of
Well, it depends what the claim is, right?
Well, a divorce is a family court matter, which is probably going to be closer to a civil matter than a criminal matter, right?
It is a civil matter.
And
so the burden of proof shouldn't be like up to a criminal standard.
So you should be able to just be like, yeah, I don't want to be with him because he beats me. And they say, okay, he beats you. And that's it.
Well, no, with fault divorce, you'd have to prove that there's a 51% chance.
I love how this guy, dude, I know you want my attention. Maybe I look like your dad or something, but like I'm talking to Ghosty. Shut the fuck up for a minute.
We're all on a fucking panel.
Yeah, my bad. Okay.
But Non-Fun was talking the points. He was arguing the points. He was the one bringing up the subject.
Yeah,
I was responding to Ghosty's question, and this guy always has to, every time I talk, has to say.
Sorry, I can't read your mind.
Guess what? It's a panel. Welcome to a panel, Speakeasy.
I started talking already, though. That's the difference, right?
Yeah, well, everybody's trying to get a word in. That's just what happens on panels.
Yeah, easy.
I'm surprised you haven't figured this out yet. You run a bunch of panels.
Yeah.
Especially blood sports, where everybody's talking over each other.
Okay, well, that's a whole different setup, the way I have that, right?
Okay, whatever.
When
you should be more used to panels here. It doesn't seem like you're really used to them.
When people are interrupting each other, I do stop that, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Plumpy coming in with the big 5. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. And if you stop people from interrupting each other, then you will 100% be more respectful when the host is interrupting you to stop interrupting others. All right, back to the panel.
I did say I gotta get out of here. I'm hoping Mel's timer was up. I want to make it a little spicier. Hopefully Mel can have my spot.
Yes, her timer's up unless the chat has spoken. But do you want to give your final thoughts, Prawn?
Yeah, thanks. I definitely lean toward having no fault be more of an option. And sorry if my audience is a little scuffed. I don't have my typical fancy ass setup, as you can tell by the background. But thanks for letting me on the panels. Fun as always to have this intellectual discussion, sharing our ideas. But I definitely am more in the camp of ghosty, non-fawn, and more toward. I want more options that lean toward no fault. But I think we should have multiple options. I'll end there. And hopefully Melanie gives us a spot. Bye, guys.
Francis, I think I disagree with you, but great to meet you. I think maybe I've encountered you once before, but yeah, good to talk to you, dude.
Yeah, I'll see you around. Debate many of you guys, debate you all in the future. Yeah, see you guys. Have a good night. Peace.
See you around.
And Melanie is coming back. The Trib one coming in with the Big Ten. There is no legal argument against no fault. The only argument is a religious argument, and you don't need to get married by the government. No fault expedites the process. I will agree with that in terms of like the legal argument against no fault. I don't know if you actually have that aside from preference to say, no, I think you made a contract, you should stay married, so on and so forth. But every contract can be broken. There are consequences thereafter, but every business contract, and like I said, a marriage in terms of the state is deemed as you're creating an entity between you and your spouse. Think we'll come in with the Big Five. Bail money for Mel. Thank you. We appreciate that. Melanie, you are back.
Now, whenever I see
there was an argument that wasn't religious that was made earlier. Teriak made it, and I had brought it up that like if there was kids involved, that stats show that 2-parent homes do much better than single-family homes or single-parent homes. So
that's still not a legal.
This would be a argument to keep the marriage together.
To promote it.
Kids that live in messed up relationships, kids that live in houses.
We're talking no fault
with messed up parents, even if they don't show interest in each
then
other.
There's probably a fault involved if one of the parents are messed up.
No, like even to the point where stop talking over me and you actually understand. Even to the point where they're just not interested in each other, or they don't love each other, or they're like not engaged with each other. This also shows lifelong effects on the children. Where they would like your parents' happiness.
Right, and if people couldn't just get out of marriage for no reason, they would really think about before they made that commitment, right?
So a lot of people who go for no fault divorces, there actually is fault, right? Like the entire reason this got popularized, and when Reagan made this the first state law to do this, it was because in California you had a bunch of rich Hollywood movie stars who were caught cheating, who didn't want judges rifling through their finances. So a lot of these no-fault divorces are at fault as far as who did something wrong. It's just a matter of people to expedite the process and not have to go through the battle if they can, decide it themselves. Right. So there are many reasons, and it's not just like women wanting to get away from dudes. Like there was a big push by rich dudes to have this be a thing as well.
Yeah, but is truth an important thing, FG?
Absolutely.
So then why would you argue against finding out the truth?
Because you don't need to find out the truth.
More important than truth?
Because if it's not contested, then what's the point? If both adults agree, hey, we just agree that we shouldn't be together, the judge doesn't want to rummage. Why would they want to rummage through shit if you guys already agree that you don't want to be together? If it's contested.
The strange thing to me is that I don't hear more of you guys on the conservative side saying we don't want the government running through our lives. Like, 'cause that's what a lot of people, this is all about, right?
Because we also preach accountability
running through our lives.
Most of us don't want even you secular people getting married, period. You understand that? So the point is, when we add in barriers to make it harder for you to just get out of it, because all you look at it as is a contract between two people, it stops a lot of you secular people from even getting married.
My man, who are the most divorces in the United States? Religious people are not.
We want more of you secular people.
Most of the divorces are religious people, bro. Atheists have the lowest divorce rate in the country.
They're special marriages.
I can't hear any of you when I'm talking.
I can't hear
any of
you.
Got that yet, but like I literally wait for you to stop talking and then I talk.
This message is sponsored in part by
goofy as fuck.
You speak easy. How long have you been?
Wait, where's the rest of it?
You know, in the 1930s, that would be illegal.
Good.
That was ballet. It was beautiful. The artistry.
Wrongful rage comes with a big 5. First, children can be deposed. They cannot testify in open court. A closed court with exceptions and only if the judge allows. Hope that helps. Yes, they try to avoid that at literally all costs. All costs.
There is no gain from making people go through a more excruciating divorce process, except for the odd off chance that because of that, they actually end up staying together and having a happy relationship after that. But that's not probable that will be even a slight percentage of them.
Yeah, and so
well, there would be a very simple. There would be a simple example where there is an abuser, and what he does is he has financial gain, so he just basically waives the legal fees and uses that as leverage, get them into filing for no fault divorce.
Your assumption is that he would be caught if fault divorce was an option, but that without fault divorce being necessary, he will not be caught.
You said there's no reason. I just gave you a real simple reason.
Mel, you got 5 more minutes.
Your reason
Hold
isn't
on
logical.
just a second. Mel, you got 5 more minutes backstage. Sorry, Charlie. Go ahead.
Okay, it's what I am where I am, so I gotta go finish out the rest of my stream.
You want to give your final thoughts?
I mean, yeah, like this is not my topic. I care more about economics and political stuff. I don't, but I'd say intuitively, it just feels like no fault divorce is typically going to be a net benefit on a societal level. I don't see a good reason for not having it. Yeah. Also, I stream on YouTube at Nonfont and everyone, and Twitch at Nonfont420. Go over to my stream too. Anyway, see you guys. Love chatting to all you guys. I'll see you.
See you, Nonfont.
Bye.
And Finkel coming in with big 5. Since I am divorced, I will make my own sandwich. Be back soon. That's pretty good. All right, panel, go ahead.
But Tarek, you're making a false assumption that fault divorce would then root out crime. There's a whole bunch of ways that
you'd get the crime proven.
No, that's
you still
not,
have
not
to for a crime. You still have to go to criminal court. Like a divorce does not establish, oh, this is a crime. That's just divorce. You know, you have to go and actually file if it's like abuse or they're crazy, they're harming people. You have to get like all this stuff belongs in a totally different court. It does not come together. Flow state, you got 5 minutes. We'll see in a little bit.
Yeah, so Flow's original statement was that there's no benefit to not having no fault or whatever. And I basically said, or there's no case where making them go through the excruciating pain, but there are advantages to it because you get these people, these abusers, held accountable.
No, but that's what he's trying to say.
The process is difficult.
If you get granted a divorce through fault for abuse, it's not like that person is now charged with abuse. They're just divorced.
No, but that goes back to what Sarah's saying, is that there would have been criminal proceedings beforehand.
No, that's a whole separate thing.
You have to.
The criminal
the
come
state
first.
has to. You have to go file if there's abuse. Right? In this instance, if there is child abuse going on within your household, you have to go to the police station, file charges, get a whole investigation. The state then has to decide if they want to prosecute and hold those charges. Then it becomes a court case. And all of that happens completely separate of anything else. Filing a divorce is something outside of that. Now, you could essentially wait until the abuse case with the police and the state and all of that is done, so that now, if assuming you have a guilty charge at the end, you could then take that and use that as a fault divorce reason. But if you want to just divorce them off the bat in the beginning and file the other charges later, it's easier to just go through no fault, Just say, we're just done. I'm done. And then later go, if you choose to file charges later for abuse.
But the same mentality would be, it's like, oh, I just don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to run away. I'm not actually going to hold anyone accountable.
That's their choice. You can't be virtuous.
Yeah, but you're not holding an abuser accountable.
Okay. But half the time, you know how difficult it is to prove those cases. You have to have a lot of physical evidence that leads up to it. Your testimony has to be exactly the same every single time. You can't miss a beat. And if you miss so much as a little inkling of 5 minutes within that testimony, it's just all shattered to hell. So
yeah, and rape is difficult to prove. We should still prove it.
Exactly. But so is abuse of all sorts. And it's just, it's kind of like, do you want to relive that trauma again and again and again through a court? Do you know how long a court proceeding to go? And then if they you get an answer and then it's appealed, whether it's one way or the other, you have to relive it all over again, and it's a whole nother year before that process is coming to fruition. So
yeah, you're only hurting the abuse victims more. You're trying to say we want to hold like the abusers accountable. But really all you're doing is granting them a divorce in the end. So if the abuse victim in this situation can just get a divorce without having to prove all this shit, it's the same outcome in the end, except in one case you're making it harder for the abuse victim and the children than in the other case.
But you would not say the same thing about a rape case.
These are two totally different things.
It's about abuse.
No, okay, but
like the logic that you're saying is it's going to be difficult for the victims. The logic, one sec, Osi, the logic you're saying is it's going to be difficult for the victims. I understand that, but you could say the exact same thing about rape or any
because the outcomes are different. One is just a divorce. You're granted a divorce. One is you're granted actual justice, right? So like proving a rape victim going to testify and go through all this, they're getting justice. Where in the other case, they're just getting a divorce. They're not getting justice for the abuse or the rape.
Yeah, and?
So those are two totally different things.
So?
Accountability-wise. So your argument makes sense.
Consequences in the wrong house. Okay, a judge for a divorce is not going to say, oh, well, since you abused your wife and children and XYZ and she came here for a divorce, I'm going to send you to jail too. That's not where that happens. That becomes a whole,
I'm not saying it is.
Right, but what I'm saying is you're seeking consequences for stuff that there's no consequences if you take it to a divorce case, with the exception of just you're divorced.
Yes, but what I'm saying is the mentality to have no fault is that there's no accountability, there's no nothing. It's just we've bad vibes.
Teriak and Speakeasy, how come neither of you
reason that has to be provided? There's no evidence, no proof.
Against you? How come neither of you can figure out differences when it's an argument against you? But as soon as somebody else has an argument against you where there is a difference, you need to call it out like you're the master of identity.
Okay, so what's
it's totally selective sophistry and bullshit. Okay, so like learn the difference. Rape is not the same thing as a divorce. Do we need to explain this to you like you're a child?
I have a meta question.
You're a fucking child because you act like a fucking man-child. So maybe we do.
Breathe in.
Sarah, I have a meta question when this is ready. And also,
CT live. Had sex with somebody without their consent. A divorce when married people get separated.
I'm waiting for him to step in.
That's the difference, Teriak. Figure it out.
Nice mic, by the way.
Andrew Starr coming in with the big five.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Pardon me. Andrew Starr coming in with the.
How obsessed you are.
Hold on, please. Andrew Starr coming in with the big five. Reliving something is your duty if it gets an abuser off the streets. This whole argument is from the angles is stupid. However, look at the percentages of taking an abuser to court and seeing how easy, or actually in reality, not easy it is to get that conviction. The stats are incredibly low, and you're going through a lot of painful things for an outcome that's more than likely not going to happen. Grumple to you.
And, well, I just want to step in real quick on that. Well, that was what I was just trying to prove.
It was just
hold on. Grumple did ask.
Okay.
So the big picture question that I think all of this entire conversation needs to be tested against, which just everybody personally, you don't need to answer. If you want to say it, cool. But the thing that the test is, which is better or worse for you morally, ethically, whatever, is for a guilty person to go free or an innocent person to pay a price. Which one is worse or which one is better? And that's I think the test of this conversation about, and I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody or anything. Bad things happen and it's horrible. Abuse happens and it's absolutely horrible. How does that get dealt with? And
because
where are we okay? Where are we okay?
Because the example was given earlier, I think it was one of the commenters that highlight this, is that they can just claim no fault, and then if they're a bad person, they can just go out and start like talking shit, saying, "Oh yeah, like I was getting abused, but it was just the easier way to just claim no fault." And then the guy has nothing. He's like, "We agreed to no fault. I didn't abuse her, but she's saying I did." Do you know what I mean?
The fault function is not a criminal. It's not.
Yeah,
it's a prerequisite to attaining a divorce. It has nothing to do with enforcing punishment for bad behavior.
Yeah, nothing is going to come of that except for maybe the judge would determine that an investigation needs to be kicked off. But they're not going to jail. It doesn't go in the papers. None of that.
Well, it's that fault divorces are trying to determine something, right? They're trying to determine alimony, custody, like all kinds of things they have to investigate to determine those things. If you tell the court, I don't need you to determine any of this, then they don't need to investigate anything.
Mm-hmm. Paige I'm sorry, let me back it up one. Austin coming with the big 5. They go hand in hand. What are you talking about? Time out the fox. That was the first 5 minutes have been added. Paige coming in with the big 2. Mute the fur ball. Doing God's work, guys. And I've added the extra 2 minutes. Wrongful Rage coming in with big 5. Whom is more likely to commit? I love that you said whom. Whom is more likely to commit emotional abuses, moms or dads? I vote moms, but that's my experience with my mom and my baby's mama. Sounds like, I think it all comes down to your own personal experience. I don't know what the actual numbers are.
Sarah, you want to know?
Yeah, sure.
Whom was actually incorrect for that grammar.
Whom?
It was opposite. Yeah, who was the correct one for that? It wasn't a direct object.
To whom would we?
To whom?
Andrew Starr coming in with the big 2. Testimony consistency isn't a problem for honest ones. Thank you, Andrew. All right, so roll with the idea of you have to, obviously, like I would say you've never been in that experience if you don't understand what it feels like to be in a traumatizing event and having to relive it. And I will say if you've never had that experience, then you can't speak on that concept. But outside of that, there is a separation, there's divorce, and then there is criminal law and abuse, rape. My husband started selling drugs, all of those things. You could even go in for a no-fault divorce if your husband started selling drugs. You don't have to go through fault divorce, but that's still illegal activity. But that judge during that divorce is not going to persecute. He's not going to send him to jail or anything. You would have to go the criminal route. There's a huge, you have to separate that. And I can't get to get it.
So let me explain how we got here, Sarah, because basically the arguments
comment about the who thing, that's correct.
Yeah, so basically the reason why we got here was that we were basically asking what would be a valid reason for no fault, and then you gave the reason that okay, what about in cases where they are at fault, there is some sort of abuse going on, but it's just easier to be no fault.
It's not a valid reason.
One sec, let me finish. Then what I'm saying is I'm extrapolating that logic and say, well, it's just easier not to hold any abusers accountable, right? That's the same logic, right? And you would have to bite the bullet there and say, yeah, no, it's just easier for people not to testify, which is what some people actually argue tonight, which I'm fucking baffled by.
Forcing a victim to hold their abuser accountable is you being an abuser all in the same breath.
No.
Because you are forcing them.
No, because I can flip that back on you, Sarah, and say you just you don't want the abused to be held accountable. You want protections for abusers.
But it's in a different court system.
It's
the same logic that you are applying.
It's not.
Yes, it is. It's just easier not to report it. It's just easier not to report the crime. It's just easier not to report the crime. But guys, it's just easier not to report the crime.
You can't.
That's what she's just saying.
At first, I thought it was being difficult, but he might not actually like have a brain.
Yeah, how many people and how many ways do we have to explain this to you?
Yous are making the case that in the situation of a fault where someone is actually abusing in the marriage, it's easier just to do no fault, which is basically the same logic as saying it's easier just not to report the crime in the first place.
There's
what
no
we're saying,
because they don't have to deal with the emotional trauma.
Stop. Listen to me, Teriyaki. There is no consequence if you and I are married right now and you beat the shit out of me every night and I just go choose to do a fault divorce and say he's been abusing me every night. There is still no consequence for you except maybe
I'm not saying
I
that.
would still have to prove it with police reports, but
Yes.
maybe the only way you would lose is because you've been beating the shit out of me, so then I'll have rights to your house. You have no money left. That's the only consequence. But the true consequence would be criminally. That's where the society as a
what I'm
whole
saying is,
well, they can also issue.
Yes.
Well, I want to fit
They
in.
can also issue protective orders, and if I'm not mistaken, for just specifically domestic abuse, they can issue charges for this too. So,
well, I don't want to get too. I don't want to get too far away from the point.
Well, that is the point.
So when it comes to my certain situation where it was my mother against my father, essentially. And so it was just her word against his. And ultimately, it came down to what myself and my brother would say. But we've been so, like, abused and so, like, programmed in a certain way where we wouldn't even talk about the abuse that went on. And that is the psychological turmoil that hits the children. It's not about feelings. It's not about like, oh, I don't want to go back against my dad. It's more like there was something beaten into my head and my psyche where I just could not even compose the words to describe what was going on.
But what I'm saying is,
is anybody else
one second. I just want to clarify. Basically, like what you're saying is,
I don't care about what you're saying.
If you heard that a guy was beating on his wife, you would tell the wife, just get a no-fault divorce and run away. That's what you're saying. Yes, it is.
No.
Yeah,
that was your
I'm
whole
reading
premise.
right
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Right now,
how about you try again? I'll give you another
mean-
shot. Try again.
That doesn't even hold on. That doesn't mean that the mother cannot later, after she's left and now in a safe place, now she can file charges and now he can criminally deal with that. That she may have to do it in a way where she can just, I don't want to be with you. It's not you. It's me.
That was one of the problems, and that was one of the problems because since my father and mother, we both had custody. They both had custody of the children. The father had the right to see the children, so it was like it didn't matter if we moved and separated. He would still have a right to go into the home and see us. And that's kind of the weird.
Yes, that was a bad outcome. But if she had a proved fault, then he would have been taken away from the children. He wouldn't have had custody, correct?
No, he would not.
Well, that's the thing, is that it was up to myself and my brother.
We finally got there.
It was up to myself and my brother to break that barrier of the he said, she said barrier of the husband and wife. It was, if the children testified, being myself and my brother, it would have been obvious that my father was conducting a lot of abuse.
He wouldn't have got custody of you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
exactly.
You're right.
So it would have been better to do fault divorce.
Yeah, so, but what is the other problem that I described to you? What's the problem with being able to achieve proving that fault? So, can you repeat it for me? Okay, can you tell you what I've been describing the entire time about the psyche of children?
I'm clearly not getting this.
No. What did I say about the? What did I?
Mind-blowing.
I'm asking you. I'm asking you to repeat what I said. Is that hard for clarification to make sure you know my point?
Because
like here. So the simple thing I'm asking is that what was I just trying to describe on the psychological turmoil of the child and why they're incapable of being able to testify?
Well, we just heard from the commenters there that they wouldn't testify.
No, I'm asking you for what I just described.
Are you saying
I'm asking you to clarify what I said?
Because of victim status or because of age and brain development? Which one?
No, neither.
Or
Neither. Neither.
Neither.
No.
Neither than what?
No.
What
No. What I'm talking. Apparently, people just aren't listening. What I'm saying is that when a child goes through so much trauma and essentially like brainwashed from their abuser, they psychologically think differently, where they can't even like talk about the shit that's going on in the house. They can't talk about the trauma. It's
I understood what you said. It sounds like you didn't understand what I said. Are you saying it's because of the victim's age, or because of the trauma, or
it's
both?
not? It's from the psychological
It's
abuse
both.
and manipulation.
Right? Yeah.
I imagine if somebody grew up in like a normal home, became an adult, and got into an abusive situation, they would at least have some sort of baseline of normalcy to know that they're in an abnormal situation. But if you throw a child into a completely abnormal abusive situation, that's all they understand. So they think that's normal, and they think that's the normal way of responding to things, is the brainwashing and the abuse.
You think that's what's happening with
At the age of 10, what you can observe is that children use adults as references for morality and ethics. So if they see adults doing something, they're not really going to have a strong basis to disagree with it. It's not until they get into their teenage years that they start to actually think that way.
That's how kids learn. They mimic. They're literally
Especially in the first 10 years of their life, yes.
Andrew Starr coming in with the big 5. Hard disagree. Trauma is a shield women use to hide from their duty or to protect their lies, even if it's just embellishment. And you wonder why it's so hard to prove shit in court, because of this thought process right here. And this is kind of going back.
I'm not even talking about the trauma of the wife. I'm talking about trauma of children.
Right, but that's what it was based on, what I was speaking to earlier, with how difficult it is to prove either rape cases, abuse cases, so on and so forth, and why people choose not to. Because this is part of the problem, is we, have stuff like this being said.
I actually want to thank.
They're usually told to not even try lots of times.
I want to
have hardcore proof. Go ahead.
Am I quiet or something? What's going on here?
Can I get Easy and Teriak? Can I get you guys to admit at least that there would be a situation where a no-fault divorce would protect children from having to go through a bad experience?
Because
wreck their relationships with their family.
Tiki Tak just gave the example right there where they went for no-fault divorce, even though the dad was an abuser, but then he still had custody of the kids. The kids have to be around their abuser.
Well, I mean,
it wasn't no-fault divorce.
They'll still be your parents. Can you understand why people would choose no-fault divorce to not go through the actual war and having to use their children against each other when they have out that?
I will say this, Effigy, that I get that in those situations.
Oh no, not 2 minutes.
A shitty thing to go through. Right, but I don't think it takes away from how important all the pros of taking away no fault is. Right, this is the problem, and I'm just looking this up. I just want to know if you guys are for this, because in a third of the United States, you're not even allowed to file for a fault-based divorce. You have to file at no fault. Don't you think that's dangerous? Don't you think that's a good way to save a lot of abusers? That they're not even allowed to give a fault for the divorce?
Wait, how are you saving the abuse?
Just because they file for no fault doesn't mean that you can file criminal charges against them. Those are separate issues.
I want a divorce for this reason.
So speak easy. Let me ask you a question. If a person files for no fault divorce, does that
That's a question. I love it.
If the If people file for no-fault divorce, does that mean that you cannot throw criminal charges at the opposing spouse?
No, it doesn't mean you cannot. No.
So what is your?
This is a step to protection to apply said charges. As you guys just said, a lot of people.
So what's the protection?
Hear my answer,
what's the
or did you just want to talk at me? Okay, thanks. So this is the problem. That the giving a fault reason for the divorce adds in the protections, like the giving the protective orders, issuing more payments, because you're gonna have to probably take them to court to give charges, so that shit's expensive. So to help you with taking them to court is an important fucking thing. And also, if it's property, if you have kids, leaving a mother with no property,
that's a little gish gallop
thing. So I think
little
that
gish
woman should get the property if she's with an abuser.
You just described
Can you
expensive.
tell me my
You just
answer I just
described.
gave you? Because it seems like you're answering.
Yeah. You're saying that. You're saying with fault divorce.
Not listen for more than 30 seconds.
I'm replying to you. I'm replying to you. You said with fault divorce. That people would be able to put pending criminal charges on it towards the investigation and put in protections between like custody battles. And
let him finish.
Which, but
you didn't let me finish. How come I'm
I did.
one getting cut
Because
off?
you keep
Literally, you
interrupting
So here, here's my problem.
Only when I talk,
I'm fine with just going to the point and continuing the
Now you're
convo.
telling me to let him finish when he
so
didn't
here.
let me finish.
The one thing that you brought that you brought up in your response about the
You guys just don't want to hear the
expenses.
truth,
So
just say that.
yeah, so the expenses and time works on both sides. Both parties have to put time and money into it, and sometimes those resources do not exist. So you're just essentially delaying the process of being able to prove any sort of fault, whereas it's like we just need a separation now, and that's what no fault is for, is to make the separation now.
No fault actually extends the process.
How?
I understand that because you have to wait a certain amount of time to even actually.
You don't have to prove it in court. You don't have to go to court.
One of the main arguments for no fault is that it saves everybody money and lessens time in court.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
it does. Yeah,
No, it
so-
doesn't. Did you guys not just hear Sarah
Literally has
earlier?
to.
Did you guys not
Well,
just
there's a
hear
separation
Sarah earlier
period,
saying
but you're
that
not
the
battling in
no-fault
court.
divorce is what made it take longer than it could have? Did you
Some
guys
states
not
have
hear that?
Some states have a
Did
separation.
you hear it or not?
I'm answering you,
Mouthy
bitch.
fucking bitch.
Some
Can you
states have
answer
a fucking
question?
separation period. Some states have a
Holy
separation period, but you're not battling it in court with
Babble,
money.
man. Answer a question.
I am, dude.
Did you hear her say it? Yes or no?
Yes.
There's a cool
But
down
there's a
period.
difference.
Not all
If you
states
would shut
longer.
up. There's a difference. A separation period is not the same as battling in court with money.
Yeah,
And
there's
not all states have
Yeah,
that.
and if there was a fault, guess what? The whoever was the abuser would be
battle in
forced
court with
to
money.
pay that money.
You have to battle in court with
Those
money.
separation periods
Yeah.
are being enforced by people like you who want marriage to stick around. They're the ones who put those caveats in place, as opposed to all the no fault states who automatically do it.
Wait,
Like
what?
my state, when I had went through my divorce, we had a separation period that was enforced on us. Like that's one of the things they use to try and stop you from getting divorced.
You had separation too. In Kansas,
Yeah.
we just had a waiting period. So, like, I just kept secret for a month that I'd filed for divorce. A little awkward.
Andrew Starr coming in with the big five. If you instigate fights and probe for an overreaction, then hide behind trauma, you are a terrible person and the actual abuser. Nobody was saying that one bit. Like, we're literally talking about child abuse, bro. Nephilim coming in with the big two. If the crime happens again, are you an accomplice? And I think that's in reference to your situation, Ticky Tack, in regards to the mother. If she knows the crime is happening and essentially is kind of allowing it in a sense or something, would she then be an accomplice?
Possibly. But she is a victim of the situation as well, so I don't know where that delineating line is.
You come down to being the victim, therefore you're like afraid to, or like you're put in that same position. So it's like legally, I wouldn't consider it accomplice. Paige coming in with the 2. Can we talk about coercive control? Mute Furby. She did get her 2 minutes. And then wrongful rage coming in with the 20. You should be quiet, Furby. So 20 minutes to Furby backstage. Good night, Ticky Tack, for the win.
Thanks a lot, Wrongful.
Flow State coming with the big 2. Bail Furby. Okay, so that's 2. Is this 4? Or
I don't like Furby worth $20.
Test.
So to bring her back or keep her back there?
No, I missed the 20, and I thought I was just paying off a 2-minute timeout.
So, and then that's negated by Naomi. And then, so I'll take down 2 minutes there. Finkel taking 2 minutes
math.
back. It's 4 minutes down.
Yeah.
So now we're down to 11 minutes backstage total.
There's math.
So let me drop off the 4 minutes. All right, Furby, you got 11 total now. And then Nephilim coming in with the big 2. I dub the Spurgeezy for the rest of the stream. You are kind of extra Spurgy tonight, Speakeasy. I'm a little disappointed.
I literally talk the least. You literally only did those little thought videos you played. You only that's why you're laughing.
The
you don't
fact
want to
that
hear
you're
me call
even
you
spurging at that
I get
cracks me up.
I'll wait
Ghosty,
till I get a chance, and I'll call you out for
Ghosty
nothing.
needs a timeout too. Ghosty, you got 2 minutes backstage. I'll set your timer. Meow. Stand by for a second.
I have a thing as soon as you're done.
There we go. And then Finkel coming in with the big 10 to bring Speakeasy down just long enough that we can hear the 2 he interrupted. All right, you got 10 minutes backstage, Speakeasy. Go make a sandwich.
Shave those eyebrow stripes.
All right, whoever said that they had something, go ahead.
Oh, well, I mean, half the panels are timed out at this point, but
I got something.
Just if we're going to gatekeep about who can talk about certain topics, is anybody else diagnosed PTSD?
I don't think it's a formal diagnosis, but I've been sort of.
Okay, then apparently we're the only ones who can talk about it. So, okay. that was all.
Hold on a second. I was given I mean, they told me at rehab after a questionnaire thing that I had it. If that counts. Count it.
Oh.
Count what?
Well,
what am I counting?
What are we counting?
My PTSD pseudo-diagnosis.
Oh, I see. Ghosty, you got bailed out by
diagnosis.
I kind of throw in a topic. So we're kind of hyped on this legal issue of the no-fault divorce, but the thing is that I feel like the side that is opposed to it are trying to keep families together or couples together more often. But I think that's more of a societal issue. That's a cultural issue of the reasons of people getting married. They're getting married for the wrong reasons. I imagine a lot of women out there are using it almost like a status symbol. Like, oh, look, I'm married. I have a ring and things like that. I think that kind of stereotype should be abolished. And we should be sticking to more religious roots on the idea of what marriage should be and force
I'm glad you said that,
cultural
because
idea.
that's my question right now. And this is something that I tried to bring up earlier, but it has not been answered back to me by any of the pro people on this. Our divorce problem in the United States is almost entirely a Protestant Christian phenomenon. Everybody else, including the atheists, hover their divorce rate between 8 and 15%. It's only Protestant Christians who get up to 50%. So if you guys are like all about it being a sacrament and a part of your religion, why are you guys the one that are divorcing each other so much? It's not a matter of a court or law that's making this easier for them. If you guys believe so much and this is the whole thing and you're trying to instill this, why do you need a rule in law to do something that only you have a problem in doing? And I'm not saying you, Teriak, but Protestant Christians in general.
I don't know who you're talking to, but I'm one of those. But there's a lot of different types of those also. There's like a lot. You got Lutherans, you got Baptists, you got Presbyterians, you got Episcopalians, you got Southern Baptists, you got Seventh-day Adventists, you got Zionists.
I'm going to have to interrupt for this one. Let me interrupt you just for this one. We do have a rule that $100 is out for the night, especially because it is 1:30 and the stream will eventually shut down here in a little bit. So, Furby, I wanted to give you the floor to say your final thoughts and say goodbye to the panel, because this was fun for the Furby. Your final thoughts, Furbs.
Get that money, Sarah. Get that money. Yeah, I think Ghosty and Tiki Tack and several people have already done a good job demonstrating why we should keep no fault divorce. So have a great night, everybody.
Oh,
See you,
thank
Mel.
you, Furby. We love her.
You're eating that
She's
banana.
fun. She's been
He's
a
up on
very
Twitter.
good sport and has definitely tolerated. And I apologize for the interruption, but that was a big one too. Go back to you, Crumple.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
Yes, represent your people too, Crumple.
Just everybody who's okay. So just just everybody who's not a Catholic, unless you're Orthodox, is which I'm not even sure if Orthodox is Protestant technically. I don't think they are. But everybody else is all other Gentiles, is anybody that's not Jews or Muslims, is Protestants. The statistic seems a little bit stacked because you're talking about everybody who's not Catholic, that is Christian identifying, I guess you'd say.
Like Catholics, Jews, Mormons, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Jehovah's Witnesses, Orthodox, atheists, all of them below 15%, most of them below 12.
Well, there's another thing that you have to consider on the stack. Is that
there's different types of Protestants.
Well, I think the angle is
not all as a group. I just don't have the breakdown.
Yeah, that's like lumping all the gun statistics together. It's cherry picking. It's a bad statistic.
Well, also with the Protestant argument of when it comes to statistics, there's a lot of people who will identify as Protestant but aren't practicing.
Yeah.
So that's where a disparity really comes in. I'm curious to know if the ones who attend church most often would have maybe lower divorce rates versus the ones that are not practicing.
Guaranteed. Yes. Guaranteed.
I think Michelle Knowles brings up the stat that like apparently Catholic couples who pray together only get divorced 2% of the time or something like that. But I don't have any. I don't have the study or any of the backup for that claim, but that's a claim that he typically makes.
I think a factor into this could possibly be that because in the Christian culture, there is a lot of pressure to get married, especially young, and especially to like maybe the first person you're with. So, and obviously, there's going to be a lot of those couples who end up getting married that find out a couple years later that they're probably not right for each other. So that's why I think like cultural pressure to get married isn't like necessarily a good thing either.
I also think it's just a lot of inconsistencies and bad teachings across Protestantism, where it's like when you go from one church to the next, they have like completely different ideas on everything practically. So with that division,
then maybe you should take things a little bit more granularly than taking the whole group at things. That's like saying, hey, all white people do X, right?
Yeah.
It's like the biggest breakdown I could find says that the largest group of that is evangelical Protestants with like a 30-something% rate.
And if you say all Asians do Y, I mean, you're talking about, so China is 1.7 billion, India is 1.4 billion. Both of them are technically Asia. That's half the planet if you're talking about Asians.
Russia too.
Russia is technically Asia also, by the way. Thank you. People don't realize that. They say Eastern Europe. No, that's Asia, mother lover. Kazakhstan, Mongolia, Russia are all part of fucking Asia. It's a continent. There's a divide, and Russia is on it. Maybe part of it's over the line, but
at the very least, the analogy for what I said was more like saying the Chinese rather than Asians, right? Because I did specify a specific, at least carved out a bit of a religion that is not.
1.7 million people or billion, excuse me. Sure. Yeah, just 1/4 of the population of the entire planet. Yeah, that's a good, like statistic to use. Just they're all one model.
Well, the overarching point kind of holds though, right? If the group of people who like claim that this is a sacrament for their religion are the ones most likely, should be the ones most likely to hold fast with it, as evidenced by many other religions in the way they treat it. Like, why is it incumbent upon a law to do what their religion can't do for them, inspire them to stay together? Also, why would you want to introduce force into that anyway?
Dude, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm pretty libertarian.
Sure. I'm just throwing these questions out just from the things I've heard tonight. It's mostly aimed at Teriak and their position, but
I'm agnostic.
Everything. So I don't know what you're like. I'm not the one to argue this point.
You're wondering why a patriarchal system would imply force to things? That's weird.
What?
Well, apply force to something.
Yeah, he's saying as a Christian, why would you want to apply force to this? But Christianity is literally a patriarchal system. How do you hold systems in place?
Violence.
I thought he was just asking like in general.
It's a weird claim. It's like a appeal to feelings. Well, you're Christian. Why would you want to apply force? Like being Christian doesn't mean you have to like roll over and be a bitch.
So silly.
Yeah, maybe not this new ortho bro shit. That's not really how I've traditionally heard Christians talk. So
I don't know, dude. I'm
usually not the crowd who's all about force.
You like sit around and make fun of it and do all that.
I claim so. Yeah, saved. I believe. Christian, married. I have 3 boys, and I have a body count, and I'm not talking about sex.
Good for you.
No, it's not. It weighs every single like people glorify it. It's like, no, it's not cool at all.
Where did that even?
You're talking about like, Christians.
Yeah. Trip one coming in with the big 5. No one is saying get rid of no fault divorce. It's pretty simple, and you people, yes, you people, are doing mental gymnastics to make no fault sound oppressive. Trip one also coming in with another 5, trying to sound altruistic, saying, don't you want to hold abusers accountable when that isn't what you actually care about? You know it's not about divorce. And Finkel coming in with big 2. Bail funds depleted. Muters win. Finkel, you've been an excellent sport on this one. And Nephilim coming in with a big 2. Furby just got sent to the Shadow Realm. LOL. Yes, Furby was an excellent sport. She loves to play this game. It gets pretty fun sometimes. Finkel coming in with the big fan. Unfair. I didn't get potato chips. Mean hostess. All right, back to you guys.
If you want fun, engage with Furby. Mel is Cosmic Ninetails or Cosmic Mel or something like that on Twitter. Go engage, and you'll have endless fun.
I like Furby. I mean,
or X, excuse me, whatever the fuck you located. Muskrat calls it now.
Like,
no, it's impressive how much Mel triggers people. It's downright impressive.
Well, you have to, and Flo is back. You have to presume that you have to let it bother you, right? Like, now I do agree that Flo and I think it was a panel of other people too, went to town on Mel on her child prawn stuff.
Violent donations.
Yeah, that one, I couldn't get on board with that one, but she was still always a good sport about it. She'll have the conversation. She'll argue you to she's blue in the face, and it just makes it fun. It's great content, and she has a good time.
Sarah, does the Furby turn blue? Because like, remember the Ninja Turtles mug that came in the cereal box? Mm-hmm. The actual mug came in the cereal box in the 80s. That was the best thing ever. And the mask changed colors. Mm-hmm. If the Furby changed colors when Mel was
like when she started yelling really loud.
Yes,
that would be Mel.
That would
Melanie,
be the best.
Fix it, make it happen. We want to see you turn blue.
Mel, this is friggin' content ideas. Mm-hmm. That is free. You're welcome.
It's like a mood ring Furby.
Right.
Yes, exact mood ring for. There you go. Go Ghosty. You're good. Okay, you get partial royalties now. Okay.
Wrongful Rage coming in with the big 5.
Freebie. I already said it was free. Sorry. We'll work. We'll collaborate together for ideas in the future.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrongful Rage coming in with the big 5. The Shadow Realm screamed upon entry. You guys cracked me up with that. Where did that even come from?
I think Andrew resurfaced it.
I don't know where it like is it from a show? Is it something I missed? I live under a rock.
I know it was a meme like way back. It's this guy singing Trollolola.
Yeah, you got it. It's from a meme. You know the troll face meme, that like white face with the like his mouth's all weird looking and shit.
No, what are you talking about?
The song.
Exactly.
No, what are you talking about, Stevie? I don't understand.
Finkel, I see you backstage, but I think your Wi-Fi is not, because you're coming up as nothing. I'm not sure if it could. That just means that your internet's not operating on full strength. Wrongful Rage coming up with the big 5. TikTok invasion. That's where it came from. Fair enough. Thank you. All right, we got you.
I just wanted to come up for a minute to yell at Flo for not noticing that I put him in prison and took him out in one fell swoop, and he didn't even notice.
I know, and I did it.
I noticed you bonded me out.
I noticed.
But I did in one donation, $5 to take you down and $10 to bring you up. She did it several times, and you're reading something. You didn't even notice.
I am.
I'm hurt. I'm deeply.
I apologize for not noticing your clever moves. Next time I will.
Okay,
it was really good, though.
I forgive you, and I forgive Sarah for eating potato chips without me. Okay.
But don't you think she's getting kind of fat?
I am. I thought you meant me. I am getting fat. All right. I'll be back in the chat.
Love you, Finkel.
We didn't defend you at all.
I know I'm getting fat. I'm okay with it. I accept my fate.
This is why we need fault divorces, because we just want to sit around and eat potato chips and steal our money while we love them.
Mm-hmm. Has the panel run out of shit to argue about?
I just want to say,
I'm pretty done.
Like, I definitely think that no fault divorce isn't just something that protects women. I just think it protects everybody. And sure, like, it's irresponsible to marry somebody and then get a divorce, but like, shit happens, people make mistakes, and I don't think it's like I personally just don't believe in forcing people to like live those mistakes for the rest of their lives when these things are important.
Ghosty,
Yeah.
are you okay with? Okay, so hear me out. Because I think it's maybe where we need to go at this point is get rid of all federal subsidies and benefits for being married at all. Like no more tax breaks, no more nothing, no more social security.
What is the benefit?
Because then what is marriage other than a sacrament of between people? It's not a federal thing. It becomes just a contract between people, but there's no benefits to it.
Why
there's
is
no
that?
There's no monetary bonus.
I think the country,
be only a religious
country
it becomes only a religious thing.
They
And
try
not
to
a
do that
monetary
to
bonus at all.
encourage people to get married and have children, I guess, right? Because it's like good for a nation.
No,
to
that's
have
correct.
married
That's
couples and
why
children.
Ghosty, you just hit on it exactly. That's why those benefits exist, was to encourage population growth via encouraging the family to make more population, which is what, just without getting to like traditional married couple creates babies.
Yeah.
Creates babies.
You realize all the problems that causes, right? Like you get all the.
Well, hang on. No, just that's the purpose of the monetary benefit from the government. Russia did it too, and I didn't understand this until I was all about like, yeah, let the gays get married. Sure, why not? Cool, fine. Nobody cares. What they're doing their own business. Until I heard about this was in the 2010s, I think, when I finally like kind of changed my opinion on it, was when I heard about, and I don't even know that if this is true, but it made sense of that Russia at the time was they had a national and I don't know if this is true, it's not vetted, but this is the illustrating the point, to where there's a national holiday for go home and try and make a baby, and then if you have a baby that's born exactly 9 months from that national holiday, you get a car.
What
that
the fuck?
encourages population growth.
All right. So what I was saying is that
and that's what
we get that
I'm almost
being,
landed. It's almost landed. We're on the runway. We're almost landed. Okay. That's the exact purpose of literally all of the tax and benefits and government incentives for being married. That's literally
really
all
not.
of it for population growth. No,
it's really not.
No, it is.
So like survivor benefits, spousal privileges,
yes,
joint
all
adoption, like
all
domestic
of
violence
that.
protection.
All of that is to encourage population growth.
Well, it's probably also just like a system.
There's simply a shitload of things in the law system that need the confirmation that you are a married couple, and that's really all that it connects to.
Yeah,
and hey, things would have to be reworked in another way.
And that's what I'm asking right now is, hey, are we? Because I at this point, I'm okay with, you know what? Let's turn it all off for a while, and because I don't know if I'm an accelerationist, but hey.
I somewhat agree. I'm an accelerationist on some of those terms as well. So on marriage laws, I think we should be focusing more on incentives for having children and not incentives towards being married.
In Hungary,
I think that,
just to give a little shout out to the Europeans, in Hungary, if a woman has 4 kids, she pays no tax for the rest of her life.
But you guys are ignoring all the things that are actual like spousal benefits, things that link the rights of you and your spouse together, things that go to your spouse but then come to you once your spouse is like passed away or something like that. Like there are a lot of connective rights through that through the federal recognition of your marriage.
Can we get some examples?
Social Security going to your spouse whenever they've passed, veteran military benefits, immigration stuff, filing bankruptcy, next of kin status for medical emergencies. There's just all kinds of minutia that they just need that federal guarantee that you're the connected person to that. So how would you do that if you just left that up to the church, right?
A signed will.
Finkel coming in with the big 5 says, damn, those chips look good. Now I am hungry again. Aren't you so glad Wrongful Rage timed me out and saw what happens? It was fun. I wouldn't do that if they were all arguing on screen, though. Dustin S. with his membership says, can both sides negotiate to fight for no fault, 50-50, no child support, etc., unless fault is proven, to fight for sole majority custody, etc.? And I will say most things when it comes to children actually defaults at 50-50. A lot of people have this wrong. Most fathers just choose not to show up to court or not to file a counter complaint or not
settled outside of court.
It's settled outside of court and they just say whatever. And they're just agreeable. So the whole concept of fighting for sole majority custody, you have to have really, really, really good reason. Like you guys live 500 miles away and there's no way you can go 50-50 on that unless you're like including holidays and summers and so on and so forth. And even that's hard to get a hold of. Somebody still has to have primary. And 1JP Belly 1 comes in with a big 5. In Canada, the government gives good monthly payments to families, but it goes straight to women when they get custody, and a lot of breakups happen. Fair. And
I was just gonna ask you, Effigy, real quick. All those things you named off, you could do all of that with the power of the attorney, right?
Oh yeah, you would have to just come up with singular ways to do each of them instead of having one.
Yeah, with the power of the attorney, though, right? You can't.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, so like that would be the answer.
It would just be a more convoluted way to do the same thing without.
Sure, I guess
but
it would be
I'm
I'm
also the person that argues
everything in life easy, right? Like
I'm also the person that argues that marriage is not the singular domain of religion. So I think there should always be a secular version.
I get it, Effigy. I was just speaking to all those things you named off. That is the reasoning for the government for the connection, right? And you just admitted we don't need it because we can do that
for a lot of it. Sure, I mean, yeah, I mean, you would have to come up with other.
That's all I was answering to. I was just answering. You don't need any involvement from the government because you say, why do you guys want the government involved at all? I don't actually, but I'm talking when we're talking these odds, we still have to base it off our system, right?
Well, I can answer them.
Getting married if it was my choice, right? You wouldn't be able to get married as a secular person. You wouldn't be allowed.
You're not in a position to talk down to anybody.
Why not? Always was.
Well, given the position that where marriage is at, I I kind of understand where Effigy is coming from, and let's just say that, okay, if we were to get rid of all those benefits and we'd have to go to like power of attorney or signed wills, things of that nature, it just seems like a very long bureaucratic process where marriage would just be like, a straight up, okay, things work. These are a minimum baseline of exchanges of like value, property, and so on between the couple.
Hey, just so we're clear, if you don't have a will, if like say the husband dies, and doesn't have a will, your shit's going to probate. It's not automatically all going to the wife. If there are assets that were in the name of the husband, it's going to probate court.
Again, make sure you put your will in.
That's not an argument, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is. Why do you want to take away all the responsibilities? Who cares? It's just a responsibility.
Wait, no, speakeasy. We're on the same side here. I'm making the argument. Marriage is not an argument for that you would get stuff when your spouse dies. That's not an argument. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay,
no, speakeasy. Speak. Yo, we're on the same side on this one, bro.
I heard you wrong.
And Finkel comes in with a big 5. He says, theocracy? Speak. Say it isn't so. You're welcome to respond, Speakeasy, if you want.
I think that's in relation to when you were saying like the secular folks won't get married.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is all about Christians getting in their feelings because they want.
I would run
the word marriage. You can't let me speak at all. Every time I try to talk, you interrupt. This is just all about
Muslim marriage.
For the word marriage. Nobody else has any reason to give a fuck whether or not you feel like you get the word well enough.
What about a Muslim marriage?
It's still a marriage, right?
Well, we have to again clarify and go back that a marriage in the state is not a religious concept. The marriage at the church would be the religious piece of it. Adding the state,
we can agree that marriage as an institution predates all religions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does it?
But like, even at that,
all of the big three easily. Easily the big.
I'm sorry,
there are marriage laws in ancient Babylon.
Effigy, calm down. Sarah's the host. Let her speak.
The concept of marriage, according to the state, when it relates to getting a divorce, is simply the ending of an entity. It's a contract. It's a business transaction per se. The religious factor is not involved. When you include religion, that's when you hold your wedding at a church. That is where the religious factor comes in. So if we're getting married without a religious belief set behind it, then the meaning only sits with the state. And therefore, when you go to get your divorce, that piece of it, again, only sits with the state. If you include religion, then essentially you should seek guidance from your church and decide if you should get a divorce from there, if you're going to go that route, and then go to the state to appeal for the actual entity that you are contracted into, and then it happens on that demise. But you can't push religion for a government contract that or a contract that you have that the government recognizes. Go ahead.
Yeah, this kind of circled back to one of my original points is like this seems a lot more like a cultural or a societal issue that we need to be encouraging people just to stay together, not try to impose laws that force people to stay together. Mm-hmm. No, it's not a carte blanche force. I get it. There are many reasons of how you could get a divorce and things like that, but I just don't think that the law should be the one enforcing it.
But even in these when you say if I concede to you, even if I concede to you that marriage, a type of marriage, there was records of type of marriage before religion. Sure, let me just concede to you just for the point of this conversation for a second. In those marriages, in those contracts, if you cheat, you die. You do something wrong to the spouse, you die. You don't just get to break up either. There was none of this no fault. So do you want it to be like that? I'm down.
No, that's what. Nope. Nope. Nope.
You guys want it like that or what?
I give you a response. No, this is why I don't care about Muslims all that much.
That's way better, bro.
Speak easy. I'm willing to reply.
Your religion has no claim to marriage, as though it invented it.
Yeah,
no, it is just a practice that we have always done.
No. Well, what I'm saying is
that secular people have no claim to it.
All right, whatever. You guys fight it out. Have fun.
It separates it from a just being a meaningless contract like you want to.
No, it doesn't.
Effigy,
who say? Yo, wait, Effigy, you said your religion did not invent it, so who invented marriage?
As far as we know, marriage goes back into prehistory.
Who invented marriage?
What do you mean, who invented it? Humans invented it.
You said, hey, your religion didn't invent it. So it sounds like you are smart on the subject.
Human pair bonding, man.
Where's the origin?
No, what we know is the earliest places in the world already had marriage laws. So the institution itself had to be thousands of years older than that. It goes back into prehistory. So we've always got examples of humans pair bonding, just like it seems kind of obvious, right?
We evolved to marry each other.
Those marriages, you're talking about marriages that are these marriages are contracts between families to have their kids arranged marriage, or there's
it was so complex to that point that in our earliest history we had that kind of shit already. So marriage as just an existence in human civilization had been around for a long time as well.
All over the world.
Even using these, my point is that there would still be punishment, and you wouldn't be able to just leave these marriages. So
we're talking about times where they've been being as property. So
you know that you can't just leave. Actually, this speaks to there being contracts that you were forced to stay in. Your thing earlier that there was no contract that we're forced to stay in. Well, there was lots in the past. Lots.
Yeah, no, not arguing for how good the past was. That's a fucking asinine straw man. Not arguing for how good the past was, just showing you that your religion has no claim to a specific institution that existed thousands of years before it. That's it.
Marriage only means something.
Well, actually, no, I don't understand.
Has meaning
your argument seems a little illogical. Can I step in? So, Effigy, it seems like that you're appealing to prehistory and this quotation of pair bonding, and then conflating it to marriage.
Just saying it existed.
Yeah, I know, but pair bonding is not marriage.
As far as like where I think it came from, just a natural state for people to get together and have children, right?
Yeah, but that's not marriage.
In the Bible, it says yes, of course.
Obviously, but people will do it.
There were marriage
ceremonies.
But
this is a category error that you're performing right now. It's marriage is a legal precedent, I guess if you're talking in religious, it's the law of their religion. Because it's like that's the establishment. It's like the pair bonding is just pair bonding.
Before humans could speak to each other, that we still had children.
There were marriage.
Yeah, that's called pair bonding, like your argument. Yeah, it's called pair bonding,
right?
Pair bonding is not marriage.
There's an obvious difference, right?
There's an obvious difference between marriage and pair bonding.
Yes.
What using them interchangeably. Big question. What is prehistory, and then how does that have to do with pair bonding being the same thing?
Before you answer that, Finkel coming in with the big 10.
I'm sorry, sir.
Michael, the angel in Michael with John Travolta invented marriage. I remember that movie. That was a good movie. And here's what we're gonna do, folks, because it is 2 a.m. I'm starting to get sleepy, so here's what I do. I put up a new goal. We will go, and Finkel's carrying us for the next 10 minutes as of now, but we will go for $1 per minute on how much longer we will go. So tell me if I need to make coffee or not.
Make some coffee.
Well, what I'm saying is they have to super chat the $1 per minute to keep this going. So far, we've got 10 more minutes left. And I kind of want to throw something out here is because it seems like this argument typically comes, or at least from what I've heard in my experience, okay? This argument against no-fault divorce has typically come from the men's side of things. Is it just men can't handle the fact that they're being rejected by their own wives and they don't like the idea that she can actually now just pick up and go. Is that a part of the problem here? We're actually like not wanting to accept the fact that a woman no longer wants to be with you for whatever reason that is. Where do we stand on that?
To come at that from the business angle, because apparently marriage is the business contract. No business, like no cell phone provider will say you can just walk away from this contract any time.
No,
like you can just walk away from this lease. You sign a lease for a year.
Law is different than other types of law.
It's contract.
But it's separate courts. It's not the same like type of contract or even legal.
Do you know what an analogy is?
Even at that, you can still exit a business contract. Now, whether
it depends on the terms of the contract.
Isn't this a logical fallacy by oversimplification?
You can still exit it, but what I'm saying is
no, it depends on the terms of the contract.
There will be consequences
if
you terminate. It comes with the fine print, which would, in our case, be considered what we'd call a prenup, the fine print of a marriage. So what I'm saying is you are an entity considered by the state. You are considered an entity between you and your spouse. You can dissolve that at any given time. There could be consequences if there is fault, but it doesn't mean that you have to have consequences in order to exit that marriage, because you both willingly walked into it with the simply a vow of to having to hold whatever, right? But what I'm saying is that, you know, I feel like I hear this more from men's perspectives.
This one too.
So I'm still feel like there's this capacity of I don't want her to be allowed to reject me.
Yeah, but this is. Go ahead, Grump.
We can't hear you.
You're muted. We still can't hear you.
Yeah,
just to Grump, I'll answer it in
because
like we like it seems like there's just been like the whole kind of like evening. It's like been in like the picture that's been drawn in our minds is that it's like there's this like damsel in distress that's like being held down by this oppressive man, and that she can't get out of the relationship. Like I've never made the argument that we get rid of divorce.
Test one, two.
I don't understand this thing.
The argument for getting rid of some of divorces.
Hear you now, Grumple.
No fault. That like you can get divorced. You just have to state
I
a
don't
reason.
know why you're reminding us that you don't want to get rid of all divorces. That's a strong. Like nobody's using that ever.
Because this is the whole thing where she's being forced into a relationship that she doesn't want to be in.
Okay, just my point was for Sarah, the premise, just on the premise of the question, it makes the presumption that men can just walk away at any time with no consequence, and that women don't have that option also. That's what it sounds like the premise of the question is.
Men can walk away with no consequence, but women can
That's
as
what
well.
it sounds like that your premise is based on.
Well, that's why I don't get why men argue against this, because I feel like there should be men who
And I don't think
want
that's
to
the
feel
case.
the same way, where it's like, what if this woman changes? What if I fall out of love? What if I meet somebody else that I like love better? What if like just like things just don't work out for us and I want to be able to leave this woman? It shouldn't just be like seen as a benefit for women, but for some reason it seems to be a mostly male argued issue.
Yeah, 100%. I love no fault divorce. I use no fault divorce. Best decision I ever made in my life. I recommend it to anybody. But of course, I have alternative options, and I knew that, so that wasn't a concern for me. I didn't feel like I needed to keep this one against her will.
William coming in with $1 to add time on. I added that on. Wrongful Rage added 50. Said some coffee. Last one, I swear. And then Fabio comes in with a big 10, says, I can't get enough of how amazing you are. Add 10 more minutes. Church of 4 comes in with a big 2, noting an extant thing is not an extant. Maybe what's extant?
Extinct?
That's what I was thinking.
Extant. It is a
It's a word. Okay. Just Gerald coming up with the big 50. Nah, subtract 50 minutes, get some sleep. FYI, we're down to just under 20 minutes now with all of that added in. So if you want more time, it's currently standing at 20 more minutes. It's up to you, chat.
I don't think you can do that. Just so everybody is clear, extant means like a thing that currently exists. It's kind of like the verb to be. It's just that exists currently.
Okay.
Fair enough. One JP Belly 1 coming with the big 5. Strong family unit equals good kids equals strong society. Look up why monogamy was enforced at some point. I think that's a fair assessment, and I don't think anybody's negating that by any means. However, what we're saying is that if two people, and not all of these divorces have children. Some of them are a husband and wife, no kids, and they just choose to part ways. I think that's a
or
safe
grown
factor.
children.
Or their children.
Forced marriage is not a strong family unit.
Yeah.
Sarah, can I read this one?
Exactly.
Oh, the last one.
Is there another one?
No, the last one.
This one?
Strong family. Okay, can I read that one? Oh, wait, I don't have my good mic, and my voice is like, oh.
I just read it.
She just read it.
I'm sorry.
Finkel coming in with a big.
Are you on cold meds?
Something.
Yes.
I'm on cold meds too.
Yeah, like my voice is almost back. It sounds like I've been smoking 20 packs a day for the last.
That's exactly what you sound like.
Finkel coming in with Big 10, not a time extension. Bingo with
right now.
You're killing me, Grumple. You're killing me. You've been doing this all night. You're absolutely I'm trying to be nice to you because you are a nice person. I know you're not doing it on purpose.
I'm incorrigible and I appreciate you.
Finkel coming in with a Big 10, not a time extension. Bingo with the fear of rejection thing. See, I knew there was some piece of it that has to be in there, right? Like you can't just walk away from me.
It has to be in there, right?
What if it's not the fear of rejection, it's the fear of destruction of something you've built?
I agree with that. I could agree with that. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Like, do you not think that it's like men are putting in a lot of work, not only to keep society going, but to keep families going?
I still don't think that. Okay. Just being a provider is no longer like you don't get a cookie for that. That's like the baseline, right? If you're going to be a provider, you're going to be a husband, you're going to be a good father, you're going to be a kind person, all of those things that entail in a marriage, blah, blah, blah.
Well, those don't all necessarily correspond.
In a marriage?
I mean,
you don't think a husband should be those things in a marriage?
It's not necessarily what I think, but those don't necessarily correlate. They all happen.
Why should I what?
I said, why should we not praise good fathers and good men?
No, what I'm saying is being a provider should not just be the baseline. Okay, and here's why
I know, but why shouldn't we praise that?
I'm going to tell you, because thanks to feminism, I can go be a provider myself. I can go make my own money. I can go buy my own house. I can go buy my own car. I don't need you.
Thanks to LBJ.
I don't need you to do it.
Okay.
Right? So now the bar has risen because, yeah, you could be a provider. So can anybody else. Right? But are you a good husband? Are you a good father? Are you, are you loving and committed and part of this relationship and all of those things that come included and the shit that girls actually like in a man? And
but
if
why
you're
did
not
you
gonna
assume
do
when
it,
I said men put a lot of work into keeping families together, you think I just meant being a provider?
I thought you said building something like.
Well, yeah,
I thought you were talking about being
your
a
family.
provider.
I meant like when I said building something, I was like it's your family that you build.
Well,
right?
yeah,
Like,
no, I agree with that.
like,
But
the reason I said
I
building
misheard
something is men
you.
build
Speak
shit.
easy. I'm not going to go through semantics. I misheard and misunderstood what you said. But if you did hear what I said, I clarified what I was referring to. I didn't say otherwise. So big difference there. But either way,
I think that is like a big part of it.
Go ahead.
Is that a lot of people, like guys today, can't just get married because like they have a job and they are providers, and they do have to like bring that extra romantic, emotional connection to a marriage too. And I don't think maybe like the generation above us weren't raising their kids like, you know, for that type of relationship or something. So there might be a little bit of a disconnect. I think it's probably going to get better, and it has been getting better. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. But
isn't romance kind of just like a like temporary spin-off every once in a while thing?
I guess it depends how you define it.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking, like, if you're going to be in a marriage committing to each other, you know, there's other things that's driving that marriage besides just the romance.
Yeah.
I would say the romance is probably a little bit more on the lower list. It's like romance is there to get your wife, but then it's like it kind of trickles down from there, and now it's about responsibilities and duties.
I didn't mean like just physical romance, but...
I mean, I think
let me ask a question though, Ghosty. Would you let's say we're going to get into business together, right?
Desirable.
We're both going to put forward the capital, all this kind of stuff. Would you not want to have any stipulations before signing the contract that there's certain requirements that of certain duties, stuff like that? Would you just sign a contract that I can leave at any time?
For a business contract, it's probably going to be a little different, because that's a business, whereas like a relationship between a husband
why
and
is
a
it
wife,
different?
But it's just an entity.
Why do all of these
Why is it
analogies
different?
because I'm not
like,
in love with my business
exercising
partner,
like out
probably.
the emotional aspect of it? Like,
but that's what's being put forward. Like,
then why are you putting a contract on
It's just
it?
a contract.
Yeah, you guys say
it's
a
not
contract, and when he brings up all these contract analogies, it's like, well, but it's not the same as that.
Why didn't God make a different word?
Holy, what?
Every time.
Wait, what?
Why didn't God give me $1 million?
Yous were making the case. The whole
like
panel. It's just a contract. It's just a contract with the state. It's just a contract between two things making an entity. And then we give the examples of the contract. You say, oh well, it's different. It's different.
Yeah, because I don't actually compare I don't compare a marriage to a contract. I understand it legally.
It is literally a
that's
contract.
not okay. I understand that's
Well,
what
then
it
what do you
legally
compare
is,
it
but
to?
that's not how I view it. Legally, I
delusional.
understand like you sign a contract to get married, but I don't see marriage as a contract myself.
If you don't perceive it as that, does that mean? I mean, can you admit you're delusional because it literally is a contract?
I know it's a contract, but okay, so like you guys come from like religion,
This
right?
whole time you've been saying it was a
I mean,
contract.
the same delusional that religious people
that
would be,
sentence
right?
has not come out of my.
What do you see
out
it
of my
as?
mouth
Ghosty?
once.
Can you tell me what you see a marriage as?
I see it as like a kind of like a spiritual bond, like you're.
She's stuck in the aughts. She's stuck in the aughts. Okay.
Like a lifelong commitment?
She's stuck in the
Yeah,
aughts.
it is a commitment. It's a special
So you should
relationship.
be on my side, Ghosty. You're on the wrong side. That's what you're not realizing.
But
No,
what,
I'm
what
just
I
not
said
moving.
earlier,
Stuck
just
in
to
the aughts.
clarify,
No, don't beat her up. She's
the
just stuck in the-
contracts. Hold on, the contract is what the state recognizes. The
Yeah.
state only recognizes it as a contract. We were not saying that's what we believe marriage between two people is. Nobody said that. We were referring specifically to how the state views it and why the state can grant you a divorce.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that would you ever sign a contract where the other person can just leave because they're just not feeling it? Like, or would you rather have there be stipulations?
I would
Well,
sign a
that's
marriage
why
contract.
why I say there should be a prenup. Get the fine print. Know what you're getting into. Know what you can what you're getting out if your
Sarah,
consequences are if you leave.
Is that not just the fear of
Isn't it
rejection?
a bigger?
You know what,
shit
Terry? That's it.
for-
Every man should just get a prenup, and in the prenup, make sure you write you cannot leave for no fault divorce. Make sure
You
that's in
can't-
the prenup, and
legally
they
you
have to
can't
sign
do
for that.
that.
There we go.
There you go.
Great
It's
idea.
in
Good
the
job,
contract.
right? That's what we do, man.
Did you get
It's
that
in the
put into your
contract.
new marriage contract?
If it's in the contract, you can't leave. Then you're in breach of contract.
Flo.
No, you can't.
Well,
force
I'm
somebody to
happy for
stay
you.
within you can
Yeah.
put in
If it's
consequences
just a
if
contract.
you.
My
If
wife
you-
don't look like a fucking dead mouse either.
Oh goodness.
Probably is a
boy.
dead mouse.
Crib one coming in with the big 5. Strong society is unified society, not strong family or whatever one JP Belly was saying. Good family is subjective. Disagreement is where society falters. Finkel coming in with the big 5, but wait, there's more. She can assemble her own IKEA.
Oh, and number 2 screwdriver qualifies you for what again?
Killdrake coming in with a big 5. Power of attorney. Wills cannot determine who gets Social Security or military benefits stipends. Divorce also disfavors men, which can lead to alimony. Alimony in some states it works against people very, very much so. But alimony in most states, to my understanding, I don't think all of them have them. But if you do have them, they're incredibly tough to get. And you have to likely be either a stay-at-home mom for the last 20 years and have to like re-kick yourself out into the working force. So the courts will grant a time frame in which you can receive alimony to kind of buffer that time frame. But outside of that, alimony is typically, I don't know about California. I think they're crazy over there, but typically they're like limited and very hard to get. And thankfully, thanks to feminism, most of those women are working, so alimony's likely not going to happen for you
Hooray,
guys.
feminism.
Yeah.
The Church of 4 coming up with the big 5. How many feminists does it take to change a light bulb? None. Feminists can't change anything. Then why are you mad? William coming in with the big 2. Sarah, put
That's a
yourself
hot
in
comment.
timeout. Yes, I put myself in timeout and then I came back. Thank you, Nephilim, for taking me out of there. P. Fletch with the gifted membership. Congratulations to one JP Belly 1 for your membership. And we have about 6 minutes left, folks.
All right, cool. Because my laptop's
that's
about
more than
to
enough
die.
time for anything you want to do. What do you want to do?
You guys can, I guess we could kick off our final thoughts then. That'll take about 6 minutes.
Final thoughts, 6 minutes.
Just gonna act like you didn't see those undertones there.
I don't know what he's talking about. There's nothing that would only take 6 minutes.
I mean, if you're in a hurry in a public place, things get dicey.
Don't make
You're
it weird.
trying to
We're
sleep
having-
with 100 men in 24 hours.
Oh, that's gross.
We're in a public place
disgusting.
right now, Sarah. I mean,
That was absolutely
6 minutes
wrong.
is like
Yeah, no, I agree.
that gets like I think that's right around the time for
All
public.
right. Trib says with the
What?
$2, question for the last 6 minutes. What is truth?
Oh, I think that adds another 2 minutes, doesn't it? So we're at 8 minutes now.
No,
From
he
now?
says, no, I only add it when they say add it. But he says,
Oh, you got to say add.
Truth is
Yeah.
objective reality. That's my definition.
Damn it, you
Truth is God.
Mine was going to be similar.
Like,
Truth
for
is that
example, like I would
knowledge
say
comes
men
forth
can't
with
become
reality.
women. Like, that would be reality.
What's reality?
Yeah,
What'd you say?
that is what which is in agreement with reality. That's what.
No, but just we are like we not might be fully perceptive to the actual truth. Our knowledge is relative.
Yeah, but there's still an objective.
Yeah, I know.
Oof.
Oh, brutal.
We only have 4 minutes
brutal.
left. I had to get that out.
That's good.
And Nephilim says the answer is 42.
I agree with that
book?
in a
What was
secondary
that book?
answer.
Oh no, that is the answer to life and everything. I mean, come on.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, don't you ruin the meme.
What meme?
Talk
I don't
about
know
a
the meme.
trilogy that has 17 books in it. Come on.
That's wild.
Well, couldn't get you guys to shut up earlier. Now I can't get you guys to start talking.
Sarah,
the
we're
meds are
talking
wearing
about
out.
book club now. Are we in the Grumble book club
No,
or not the Grumble book club, but the Sarah book club?
no, not at all. I listen to audiobooks, but I wouldn't be enough.
Oh,
for
that's
me
pretty
to be
racist
willing
because access to technology is racist.
Is it?
Like IDs and voting and shit. Yeah, it's all racism. You just got to check your privilege,
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
black people can't get their IDs,
They just they don't know how.
Yeah.
Go for
They live so far away in the sticks, they don't know where the DMV is.
Right by the bus stop.
It's all just racism. It's institutionalized.
Oh Lord. Does everybody feel content with no fault divorce and why it's
Not
okay?
really.
No.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about it though, would you? Because your wife would never, like anybody that says no fault divorce shouldn't be a thing, you shouldn't have anything to worry about, right? Your wives won't leave you. She'll love you forever and ever.
Into the radiator.
That part you're correct.
That
You're
assumes
correct.
that
But see, me, right, as a godly man, I also care about my fellow brothers and sisters on the earth. Right? So
Well, but
it's not all just about me. Sometimes you have to plant seeds for trees
But
that are
their
going to
wives,
be
their wives
that
would
you're
never
never
leave
going to
them
see.
either.
Right,
And
Sarah?
they would never leave their wives. It's
No, but
like,
Sarah,
what do we
you
have to
get
worry
it, right?
about?
You
It's
gotta
only
plant
the
these seeds.
secular, crazy
Those trees
people
are going to
that
grow,
could use this.
and then the shade is going to be for other people, not for yourself, right? Sometimes you got to do that.
If you plant the seeds, that you'll never see the fruit of the. If you plant a date tree, it's for your grandchildren because you and your kids, and probably your kids, will never see the fruit of that tree.
Right. Sometimes you have to. That's what I'm saying. Like this is.
I don't
like,
know, with all the
sometimes,
GMOs.
Like when people say like, "Well, it's not going to help you."
Yeah,
or,
GMOs are the.
Why it's funny when
devil.
people do the like personal attacks instead of the attacking the arguments, because like what my arguments are is to help people in general, right? It's not just like a selfish thing.
It has nothing to do with trying to kiss up to Andrew so you get rated more. There's no correlation between you adopting.
You guys, all you guys that are jealous that Andrew raids me, talk about it way more than I do. I don't even ask
This
for
is
it.
the first time.
You're just like such a jealous bitch. See that shit? Something had to come out a little more, bro.
No.
You can't hold it
Hold
back,
on.
bro. No wonder you're already
Take
doing
it down a few notches,
Guess what? You're gonna
everybody.
get
Come on,
divorced
you're at
again,
like
too.
14.
You're
I am
divorced
saying
too.
though.
Fine.
I'm saying
Yeah, you'll get divorced.
it matters
again, too, bro.
because it
You'll
just
leave the 80 for the 20 every time.
disingenuous liar.
All right, $50. I'll let them speed date. Otherwise, we're going into our closing thoughts. Fuck it. I'm tired. All right. Teriyaki, I'm saving you for last since you're our special guest of the evening. Effigy, let's go ahead and start with you. Final thoughts for the evening.
I would divorce you all.
That's racist.
I divorced the conversation.
I wouldn't even need a reason.
Literally Hitler.
No, I think I got it all out. I think there's the biggest contention that everyone brought up was the ideas that are hitting between the people who believe marriage is a religious institution and those of us who understand how it has to interact with the government. Those two sides just don't seem to ever want to meet. But I think that's where the main contention happens. But yeah, I'm super happy with everyone having no fault divorce. In fact, I think it's good that anyone should have to put any kind of fault on it. We'll determine that kind of stuff in other ways, especially if it's a criminal matter. But yeah, thanks for letting me up.
Absolutely. Ticky tack to you.
Yeah, still in favor for no fault divorce, but generally I don't think it's the topic that we should be arguing about. I think it's more we need to reshape what a marriage is, and